Yes.
All right.
Yep.
That's a really good sign. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the March 2026 Committee on Accreditation meeting to order. Ms. Bernardo, if you can please call the roll.
Allison Leggett,
Present.
Augustin Cervantes,
Present.
Ann Jones,
Present.
Patrick McKee,
Here.
Alan Hallis,
Here.
Mike Hillis,
Here.
Malika Bryant,
Here.
Jay Sykes,
Here.
Bonnie Campbell,
Here.
Jessica Bogdanovich,
Here.
Shell Hall,
Here.
Patricia Purdon.
Here.
Excellent. And we have our quorum. So good morning, all. We would like to remind you that this is a video teleconference meeting. Members of the committee, as well as the public, are joining the meeting from numerous locations today in the state, including the commission offices here in Sacramento. Please be aware that we are going to mute your microphones to eliminate any background noise that may get in the way of others hearing what is being said by the speakers. This meeting is being recorded. After the meeting ends, the archived audio and video will be available on the commission's website. For members of the committee and the public, you're asked to please ensure your Zoom identification contains your first and last name accurately, so we're able to call on you appropriately, and so that we can be sure to record all names accurately in the meeting minutes. When it is time to take up an item, we'll need a moment to move all relevant participants to panelist status so they can be seen and heard. Participants will need to turn on their camera and unmute once it is time for your item. Committee members, if you wish to make a comment, please use the raise the hand feature, which is located at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Because we are a public body and must conduct our business in the public forum, we ask committee members to please do not use the chat feature, except to notify us if there's a technical issue preventing you from hearing or speaking during the meeting. When you make your motions, please state the motion in full so that there's no question what the motion is. In accordance with the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act, because this is a virtual meeting, all votes will be conducted via roll call. Just before the vote, we will remind everyone to make sure you are unmuted so that the recording captures your vote. If you're unable to respond via video or audio for some reason, you may, as a last resort, make your vote known through the chat function. The secretary will have to read your name and your vote when she gets to that part of the roll call vote to make sure it's an official part of the record and to make sure the public knows what the vote is. Again, this is only a last resort in case of some type of technical difficulties. For our members, if you have to leave the meeting for any point in time, please raise your hand and let us know so that we are sure that we have the quorum at all times and so that we can have an accurate record. And also please do the same when you return back to the meeting. For members of the public wishing to provide public comment during the discussion of an agenda item, you'll be given the opportunity to speak during the public comment period for each item and at the end of the meeting. The committee chair will announce when the public comment period is open during the presentation of the agenda item and ask for anyone who wishes to comment to notify the meeting moderator as explained. Please understand there are multiple public comment periods. During each agenda item, there has been time set aside for public comment only for those comments applicable to the specific item being discussed. There will be an open public comment period at the end of the meeting for all other topics. Please know that the COA members cannot respond to or speak to topics that are not on the agenda. All public comment also will be limited to 2 minutes. For participants who are attending here in person, individuals who would like to make comments during the meeting who are attending in person at one of the locations listed on the agenda will need to notify the COA member or in-person host at your location. When the co-chair calls for the public comment, the COA member or in-person host at that location should indicate if they have received a request for public comment, and the member of the public will be invited to speak. For our participants via Zoom webcast, individuals who join the meeting via the Zoom webcast will need to click on the raise hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak on that item. Staff will notify the individual when it is their turn to speak by calling the name listed in their Zoom ID, used by the member of the public when logging into the meeting. At that time, the individual will be prompted to unmute their microphone and will be able to share their comment. And then for our participants via teleconference, individuals who will be joining the meeting via the US toll-free number will need to press the *9 on their phone to inform the meeting moderator that they would like to speak on the item. The meeting moderator will notify the individual it is their turn to speak by calling the last 4 digits of their phone number and will allow them to unmute their telephone. At that time, the individual will be prompted to press *6 and will be able to share their comment. There is also a time designated for general public comment at the end of the meeting. Public comments will be restricted to 2 minutes. At this time, do any of our committee members have any questions about these protocols? A lot of information, so we'll pause for a moment. All right, then what we're going to be doing this morning is just watching the raise hand feature. So just give us a moment in case there's any questions that come up, because we have some of our committee members here in person as well as virtual. So we'll do our very best to make sure we are watching for everybody. With that said, we are going to move on to the first item, which is the approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for the March 2026 meeting?
I move to approve the agenda for the March 2026 meeting.
So we have a motion by committee member Hall. Do we have a second on that motion? I see member Jones' hand up. We'll now do a roll call vote. As a reminder, if you can unmute yourself, so when we get to you, you can be able to make your vote known. And Ms. Bernardo, if you could please call each individual name and you will either say aye, no, or abstain.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Augustin Cervantes,
Aye.
Ann Jones,
Aye.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Alan Hallis,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Micah Bryant,
Aye.
Jay Sykes,
Aye.
Bonnie Campbell,
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich,
Aye.
Michelle Hall,
Aye.
Tricia Purdon.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. That was very smooth. So that's a great way to start our meeting this morning. Thank you so much for doing that. We're now going to go to item 3, which is the approval of the minutes of the prior meeting. And we're going to see if we have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 2026 meeting. And a quick reminder, it would be appropriate for any committee member who was not in attendance at that meeting to abstain. Do we have a motion? And I see member Leggett.
I move to approve the January 2026 meeting.
Thank you. And I saw a second by member Hallis. Are there any corrections or changes? We'll give you a moment to raise your hand if any corrections or changes. We'll now do a roll call vote. When called on, please indicate whether aye, no, or abstain.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Augustin Cervantes,
Abstain.
Ann Jones,
Abstain.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Alan Hallis,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Micah Bryant,
Aye.
Jay Sykes,
Aye.
Bonnie Campbell,
Abstain.
Jessica Bogdanovich,
Aye.
Michelle Hall,
Aye.
Patricia Purdon.
Aye.
And looks like motion carries. Thank you so much. We're going to move now on to item number 4. This is an opportunity for co-chairs or members for any reports. I don't have anything to report. And co-chair Bogdanovich, do you have anything to report?
No, I do not.
All right, thank you so much. And do any of our members please use the raised hand feature if there's anything you would like to share? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 5, which is staff reports. Before we do that, just a quick note for members of the public. Co-chair Bogdanovich and I have split the agenda today, so you're going to be seeing us moving back and forth on the different items. So thank you very much, co-chair, for all of your help facilitating this morning. We're going to move on to Administrator Cheryl Hickey now, who will present item number 5.
I don't have a lot to report. I just want to say we're in the high peak season of site visits. So a lot of our consultants are working very hard on all of those, as well as all the institutions that are in the middle of site visits. And we're moving forward with next year already, you know, and talking about all of those site visits that are happening and taking care of all that. I do want to say that we can now declare SB 488 complete. Woohoo! Finally, everything. Finally put the press the last T and put the last I on it. you'll see later today, the two of the institutions completed their work, and the third, Miranda will talk about in item 9. But yeah, so we are done. We're very thrilled with that. And then I just want to just mention that since that work is done, we've been doing a lot of call like almost cleaning the garage kind of work. So we're really taking a good look at our preconditions and making sure they're really clear and clean, and wherever there is questions about whether it actually says what the ed code says or what the regs say, we're going back and we're cleaning all that up, and we're going to have an item for the commission this spring where it just cleans those up so that they're tighter and cleaner, and there's not questions about what did this really mean. So we're working on that. The other thing is we're about to launch a brand new website later in April, and we've been doing a lot of work on the back end of making sure our documents that are on the website are up to date, taking down old ones. So there's a lot of work that's happening in that, and that, you know, there's quite a lot of information from PSD on our portion of the website. So we've been working really hard trying to work with our IT staff to get all of that ready to go. And you know, just a lot of just really bread and butter kind of work that we've been doing here in the office. So I'm going to just turn it over to Miranda if you want to take the next shot.
Thank you. So as Cheryl said, you know, wrapped up SB 488. And so now just trying to get on track and schedule with scheduling the yellow cohort site visits, which are all scheduled, but putting the teams together. So thank you to everyone who's volunteered or who has indicated their availability to volunteer. And also thanks for your patience while we get caught back up after the wheel of SB 488. Just some excited changes coming with the ADS and how we interact with our volunteers. So there'll be more information coming out on that with a rollout next month. But just kind of wanted to allude to that. You'll be able to be more interactive with it, I will say. So more to come on that. But other than that, nothing more to report at this time. So thank you.
Yeah, and just so nobody misinterprets my language, SB 488 will continue to live
Yes.
in the TPEs and in the standards. I just meant the literacy certification aspect.
Yes.
So, and then Kira.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in the sunshine, sorry. So we teacher residency implementation and expansion. We just awarded the most recent round of applicants for the last round of RFAs. Very excited. All that information is posted online. Lots of conditionally funded grants, and we're looking forward to further communication with our potential grantees around helping them be fully funded. So we're very excited about that. And we have posted for the student teacher stipend program, we have posted the registration link for the webinar on April 9th. That is also on our student teacher stipend program website, and you can go there, click there, and we're hoping we set everything up correctly into the webinar world, and we're very excited about that. And yeah, we're just moving forward in the grants world. So I'll just say that's it for now.
Kira's grants team has been working really, really, really hard. So kudos to them. And then finally, Erin.
Thank you, Cheryl. I actually really don't have much to add other than I just would like to put out a reminder this time of year as the legislature is working on things, bill languages being introduced and amended, et cetera. The rumor mill kind of starts to flow sometimes about, you know, what people are seeing and what they're expecting. And I just want to put out a reminder that anything that's moving right now is not law yet. That things have quite some time. Anything in the budget bill, we have until sometime in July before any of that will be finalized, and, you know, for sure. And any other regular bills, those won't be finalized and either signed or vetoed or passed in some other way by the governor until next fall. So sometimes something comes up and we get emails that I hear now we're required to do this, and it's a bill that's still in motion. So just a reminder about legislative deadlines, et cetera. And I will say, you know, I won't say anything else. We have budget hearings coming up and things like that. The legislature is really interested, particularly the budget folks, in the variety of grants that they have funded and how those are doing as they consider whether or not to put another $250 million into residencies. I will say I would expect that to be a yes, just based on the uptake of those grants and the fact that, as Kara was mentioning, they just finalized this latest round of teacher residency implementation and expansion, and we had more requests. The requests were for more money than we have to give. So those grants really do continue to be extremely robust. I know it's a bad budget year. I feel like we've been saying that for a number of years. It's been a while since we've had a windfall budget year, but I would anticipate probably that being funded. We shall see. And then that student teacher stipend, as Kara mentioned, that's very exciting. Folks are really, really excited about that. So it's kind of nice to be on the end of the agency giving the money. I know that it's a lot of work for Kara and her team, but it's lovely. Also, really glad that certification has wrapped up. Only insofar that Miranda came on as an administrator, and that's immediately what she jumped into, and now she's actually having a chance to experience the operational end of facilitating program review and common standards review, and putting those teams together and supporting the staff in the process. And I'm really happy to see her do that and find some what's the word that I'm looking for? I'll just say improvements, finding some areas where things can be tightened up or done differently. That's one of the most exciting things I think about bringing new people into old roles, is that they see areas for improvement. And I really just appreciate that. So anyway, that's all.
Excited to see the new website launched, and what I'm hearing is that we have some longer agendas coming up with the site visits starting now. So it's good to hear that everything's ramping up, and we appreciate all the work out there in the field of the CTC staff. So today we're going to move on to item number 6, which is the program approval recommendations, and we have 4 programs this morning for approval. We're going to begin with the first institution, which is the Point Loma Nazarene University's California Teachers of English Learners CTEL CLAD program. Joining us today for this agenda item will be the Point Loma Nazarene University to answer any questions that you may have about the program. We have Dr. Catherine Walter, the Program Director of the Curriculum and Instruction CTEL Bilingual Program, Dr. Rico Ramos, Associate Dean of Advanced Programs, and Dr. Michael Cork, the Associate Dean of Assessment and Accreditation. And while we wait for them to join us, do we have any recusals on this?
I recuse myself.
Thank you. Is that Member Campbell? Any other recusals? And for virtual meetings, do they have to turn their cameras off for recusals?
That would be good, yes.
So thank you. This is as the lights go off in our office. We're not recusing ourselves here in Sacramento. Our lights just went off. There we go. Thank you, everyone, for dancing and getting the lights back on for us. But thank you for Member Campbell. So as a reminder to all of our members, like if you ever recuse yourself, just turn the video off for that agenda item. And do we have everybody here virtually that we needed? Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Bernardo. So now this is an opportunity for institutional representatives to say anything about the proposed program. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. I'm Catherine Walter, Program Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Point Loma Nazarene University, where I have been helping lead the development of our proposed CTEL program. And I'm joined today by 2 of our Associate Deans, Dr. Michael Cork and Dr. Rico Ramos. Our proposed program is a 12-unit graduate level program designed to prepare educators to earn the EL authorization CLAD certificate to really effectively support multilingual learners in California classrooms. The program we've designed is fully online. It's grounded in research-based, culturally and linguistically responsive instruction that really reflects an asset-based perspective and views students' languages and cultural backgrounds as just incredible strengths that support learning. And in the program, through coursework and supervised fieldwork experiences, candidates will develop the knowledge and skills to provide both English language development and specially designed academic instruction in English. And we're just very excited about the opportunity to offer this program and better serve multilingual learners and the educators who support them. And we really appreciate the committee's time and review and are happy to answer any questions you may have for us.
Thank you so much, Ms. Walter. We'll now open up for public comment. As a reminder, if there are members of the public that would like to provide a comment, please notify the meeting moderator by submitting a request card or notifying the COA member at each location if you are in person at one of the locations. Or if you're online, by clicking on the raise hand icon if participating through Zoom, or by pressing *9 if participating by phone. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes. And I think I saw a raised hand, or do we have any public comments still, Ms. Bernardo? A moment ago, I thought I saw a raised hand.
No public comment.
No public comments, and we'll pause any committee members. Are there any public comments in your spaces? Don't see any. So now it's an opportunity for our committee members if you have any questions that you would like to ask of the institution. Or any comments. See anyone raise hand? I just a comment I have for the university. I think this is a much needed area. One thing I noted is that you are offering this as a standalone, but also as like folded into the program. And I think there are a number of people who would probably take advantage of the standalone feature. People that are coming from out of state in various capacities. So I just appreciation for you building a program that's fitting a need that's across the state of California. And anyone from the institution, would they have that opportunity, I believe, to complete this online for a virtual option versus just being present in person, correct?
Yes, the program's offered fully online in both pathways.
Excellent. So definitely thank you for filling a need out there in the state of California. It's an opportunity now for any member of the Committee on Accreditation to make a motion to approve the California Teachers of English Learners CTEL CLAD for Point Loma Nazarene University. And I see member Sykes.
I make a motion to approve the CLAD CTEL for Point Loma University.
Thank you. And do we have a second? I saw member Pernin's hand up. Thank you so much. We had a lot of hands up. That was the first one I saw. So thank you, member Pernin. Much like we've said already, we'll do a roll call vote. When called upon, please indicate with either aye, no, or abstain. And if you could unmute yourself, so when Ms. Bernardo gets to you, you are ready to go. So thank you, Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Jetson Cervantes,
Aye.
Ann Jones,
Aye.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Ellen Hallis,
Aye.
Nick Hillis,
Aye.
Lega Bryant,
Aye.
A Sykes,
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich,
Aye.
Shell Hall,
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
Hey, motion carries. So we want to wish the absolute very best and congratulations to Point Loma Nazarene University. We wish you the best as you roll out this program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and support.
Thank you so much. And before we transition, we have Administrator Hickey just with a follow-up.
Yeah, so this is, I think it's something that I omitted to do. And I believe under the new Bagley-Keene Acts, we have to ask everybody who is a committee member who's on the screen or joining us via the web, if there is anyone in the room with you over the age of 18, if you need, can you disclose that? I think that's what we have to do at this point in time, and I did not put that in the beginning part of this. So let's get it done now. So if anybody has anybody in the same room with you, could you let us know? Yes.
Member Sykes.
Yes, I have one other colleague in the office space with me.
Great. Anybody else?
No, not at this time.
Any other members? Is there anyone else in your space?
Thank you. I think it's just a disclosure so that everybody knows who's on. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. It's not a bad thing. It's just that full transparency, and so we appreciate that as we don't do these meetings very often. So thank you for pointing that out. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be kind of trading back and forth this morning. So I'm going to now pass the meeting over to Co-Chair Bogdanovich. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrick. All right. The second institution is California State University, Stanislaus, California Teachers of English Learners, a CTEL program. Joining us today from Stanislaus to answer any questions you may have about the program is Dr. Leona Calkins. She's the Assistant Professor of Teacher Education and the Co-Coordinator of the SSCP. Do we have any recusals on this item? No? Okay. Good morning, Dr. Calkins. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you doing?
I am great. Would you like to share anything about your program? Now is the time to do so.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Yes, we've spent the last year and a half really trying to push through and get the CTEL program up for Stan State, especially being in the Central Valley. All of our district partners have been really requesting and wanting us to have a CTEL program, which is not just beneficial for their teachers, but obviously for all of our K-12 students. And so our program will be offered completely online with both synchronous and asynchronous options depending on the course. This not only allows our teachers who are in the Central Valley to take the course, but anyone in the state of California who needs them can take our program. Additionally, we wanted to make sure that because we will be offering it to in-service teachers, that it was designed in a way that would make it easily accessible for them, which is why we also went with the online option. Not only will in-service teachers be allowed to take the coursework and to earn the accreditation with us, but we're also going to have it with our pre-service teachers in our multiple subject and our single subject programs. We'll have the ability to earn the authorization concurrently while they're earning and doing the coursework for their preliminary authorization or their preliminary credential, sorry.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. Do any committee members have any questions for the representative from Cal State University, Stanislaus? All right, committee member Cervantes.
Yes, thank you. And I know we just heard from one CTEL program. Now we have another. Just curious on the 20 hours of field experience, considering that a cadre of your students could be in-service teachers. How are you identifying where the field work takes place? I'm assuming we'll be pragmatic on site and, of course, making sure that either sites or classrooms, teachers are vetted so that the field work, of course, complements your coursework, right?
Yes, that was something we've definitely talked about. So our CTEL coordinator, along with the instructors of the course, will work with any in-service teachers to confirm that where they are doing that field work is an appropriate setting, and ensuring like if they're going to push into an ELD class or if they're going to push into, with the teacher who already has a CTEL authorization, that we are working with those candidates as well as those already vetted teachers to ensure that it's a proper fitting for field work.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the California Teachers of English Learners for Cal State University, Stanislaus? All right. Committee member Hallis. Thank you.
I move to approve the California Teachers of English Learners for California State University at Stanislaus.
All right. Do I have a second? Thank you. Committee member Jones. All right. We will now do a roll call vote. When called upon, indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Thank you. Staff, please call the names.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Justin Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Micah Brides.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Lonnie Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Tricia Pernin.
Aye.
All right. It looks like the motion carries. Thank you very much and congratulations. We wish you well with your new program.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Right. We are waiting for the next members to come in. Okay. I think we're missing one.
Here you go, Jessica.
That's all we have? Okay. The third institution is the LA Unified School Districts, adding an intern pathway to an existing preliminary administrative services credential or PASC program. Joining us today from Los Angeles Unified School District to answer any questions you may have about your program is Dr. Marco Nava. Dr. Delia, is Dr. Delia Estrada joining us? No? Okay, and Mr. Daniel Kim. Did you have a question, committee member Pernin?
Yes, I have to recuse myself.
Just want
to make sure.
I am getting that right now. Do we have any recusals on this item? Thank you, committee
Yes.
member Pernin and committee member Leggett.
Yes. I have to recuse myself.
Thank you. Anybody else need to recuse themselves? And we still have four. All right. We would like to ask. Okay, we would ask, this says Kiyomi Meeker, is that correct?
Nope. Oh, yes, we are. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
I did see her in here. Thank you. To say a few words to get us started on this program proposal, Miss Meeker, please begin and let us hear some stuff that's good about the program.
We'll give it just a quick minute. She's here in person, so we're going to make sure that.
Oh, that's why I didn't see her. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Just 1 minute.
I mean, if you want to move up here, you certainly can so that the, oh, you're joining the webinar. Okay, great.
See it, Kiyomi? Yeah. Okay, can you see me there? All right.
She is.
Good morning, committee members. I'm here to present a brief overview of the request to add an intern pathway to an existing preliminary administrative services credential or PASC program from the Los Angeles Unified School District or LAUSD. This is the first local educational agency to submit a request to add an intern pathway to an existing PASC program since the passage of Assembly Bill 959. Assembly Bill 959 went into effect on January 1st, 2026, and clarified that, in addition to regionally accredited institutions of higher education, commission-approved school districts and county offices of education may now offer an internship pathway for earning a preliminary administrative services credential. Commission-approved school districts and counties of educations with existing approved PASC programs may submit a request to the Committee on Accreditation to add an intern pathway. If they don't have an existing PASC program, they would need to go through the initial program review process. Just a side note there. The requests are submitted to commission staff for consideration and need to include the following: responses to the PASC precondition internship requirements, description of any program design or implementation differences between the proposed intern pathway and the institution's traditional pathway, collaboration efforts with the institution to support the intern pathway, with other institutions to support the intern pathway, and evidence on how the program will provide qualified coaches to support the interns. We also ask that they tell us when they would like to begin enrolling interns. As of today, commission staff have received 4 requests, one that's ready for you today, to add an intern pathway to an existing PASC program. Today you have LAUSD's proposal in front of you. LAUSD submitted their request to add an intern pathway in January with a proposed start date of April 2026. LAUSD's intern pathway will use the same coursework as their traditional program. Commission staff have reviewed the proposal and supporting documentation and found there is sufficient evidence for LAUSD to add an intern pathway to their existing PASC program. A link to LAUSD's submission and feedback forms are included in the agenda item. And as we mentioned, Dr. Marco Nava and Mr. Daniel are here from LAUSD. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Meeker, for that information. Would the institution representatives like to share anything about their program?
Yes. Good morning, members of the Committee on Accreditation. Thank you for the opportunity to present LA Unified's application to add the preliminary admin services credential intern pathway to our professional learning opportunities. I would like to express my appreciation to the committee and to Ms. Kiyomi Meeker for the guidance and support provided throughout this submission process. I would also like to thank our district leadership, particularly our Chief Human Resources Officer, Dr. Francisco Serrato, for his continued investment in developing strong teacher and administrative leaders. Dr. Serrato identified a need to fill specialized administrative roles with highly prepared candidates, and the PASC intern pathway will help us meet that need while ensuring our students receive the services and leadership they deserve. Finally, I want to recognize my PASC team, Dr. Delia Estrada and Mr. Daniel Kim, for their dedication to preparing the next generation of school leaders in Los Angeles Unified. Daniel.
Good morning, Committee on Accreditation members. Our proposed intern pathway is designed to address Los Angeles Unified School District's ongoing need to fill administrative vacancies with qualified leaders while supporting strong educators who are already serving in acting or provisional roles. In addition, it will help expand the pathway to meet the urgent need in shortage areas for administrators in counseling, nursing, and other student support services. Our intern pathway maintains the same credentialing expectations as our traditional pathway. Intern candidates still complete all preliminary administrative service credential coursework, Cal APA requirements, and credential recommendation processes. However, as our interns are already serving in administrative roles, we build additional job-embedded supports around them. One of the most important supports is regular on-site in-person coaching visits. While much of our traditional coaching happens virtually, intern candidates receive a minimum of 2 on-site coaching visits per instructional block, allowing coaches to observe leadership practice in real time and provide immediate context-specific feedback tied directly to the candidate's school setting. Since our program in 2021, 244 educators have earned the preliminary admin service credential, and 100% of our candidates have passed the Cal APA with scores consistently well above the state average. We expect the same strong outcomes for candidates in the intern pathway. Thank you, committee, for your consideration.
Thank you for explaining a little further about your program and sharing that extra information with us. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
All right. Do any committee members have any questions for the representatives from LAUSD? All right. Committee member Bryant.
I just wanted to express my appreciation as I read through your documentation. I could see the thought processes all the way through the lens of support for your administrators, and how you aligned it in that intern pathway very, very thoughtfully around their needs, the students they're serving needs. And I really appreciated the chart that showed what services a traditional candidate would be receiving and the intern candidate would be receiving. It really illustrated what was similar and then the additional levels of support that were integrated all the way through. So it really, to me, demonstrated the level of thought that was considered all the way through the development of this program. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Co-chair McKee.
And Echoing Member Bryant, thank you for finding a need within your local educational agency to be able to really lift up the potential leaders that you have to serve in these roles. And it's great to see that now there's this ability to put forth an intern program for the PASC and to be at the launching of the first one here. It is an exciting opportunity. I have one question, just kind of maybe if you could explain a little bit more. I noticed that inside the program design, there's an on-site mentor. And I think in our minds, we always think about we have a mentor as someone is in a confidential space, someone they can go to and really talk about things that where they want to potentially grow. But I'm also thinking about the world of administration. Like there's not that many administrators on site. So how do you navigate an on-site mentor in an administrative role who's confidential? Do your sites typically have lots of administrators that somebody could not be their evaluator and be in a traditional, authentic coaching role? So that, I hope that made sense. I see, Marco, you've unmuted. So does that make sense? I hope it wasn't too much of an ask.
Yes, it does. And so our on-site mentor, yes, would be a principal who provides initial mentoring support. However, our team of administrative coordinators, who are all the instructors and coaches in our PASC program, will also serve in that coaching and mentoring role, visiting sites. They're going to be the confidential support system, the primary. And in secondary schools where we have more than one administrator, it would be a colleague, like another assistant principal, that is not a supervisor, that will provide that mentoring support at the school site. We're also working closely with our Division of Instruction, as we have many of our counselors. That's where the office that supervises them are at. And that's really one of the target areas that we're looking for, our assistant principal school counseling services. So we're relying on support from Division of Instruction as well. And Daniel, I don't know if there's anything additional to add.
I think you covered it all. I think, again, we have many people here within our department at the local region areas that we could call upon. And yes, while we do have again, principals at their school sites who mentor candidates, like you mentioned, Dr. Nava, both Dr. Stroud and myself are planning to be at school sites to also provide that guidance and coaching.
And I appreciate it, and thank you. I do have a little bit of background on you, Daniel. So my question, I guess I go back to that question though, because it does say on site, and I think the response was like, but it could also be off site. So is the program design off site or on site then?
It is on site. The primary would be the supervising principal. However, it can be an additional administrator, which the majority of our secondary schools do have.
Okay.
Thank you. Member Campbell.
Thank you. I too was curious about the mentor support structure, so thank you for explaining that. I was also wanted to ask about your recruitment strategy. You mentioned that you would be targeting those who are already serving in administrative roles. What are those roles typically, and how are you recruiting for this program?
Yes, so currently the areas of need are for those assistant principals, secondary counseling services. So there are some of our counselors who are aspiring to become administrators. If they do not have their admin credential, then we would be working with Division of Instruction to recruit individuals. Once they secure that job offer, they would automatically be enrolled into our intern program, and coaching and mentoring begin immediately. We currently do not have any administrators serving in any roles without an admin credential. So this group would be the first one that come into this position. We're also looking at another area of need, which are our nursing administrators, the ones who are supervising our school nurses. So I'm working carefully with our medical division in recruiting potential interns for our nursing administrator positions as well.
Thank you. Member Cervantes.
Thank you for the opportunity. And LAUSD, thank you for just the thoughtful proposal. The level of detail provided in outlining this intern pathway is great. Member Campbell sort of took part of my question, which was on recruitment, who specifically you're targeting for this program. I'll say the integration of job embedded learning. We're doing this in the K-12 community college space. We call it work-based learning, right? Nonetheless, is a very pragmatic approach for providing real-time professional development within that work ecosystem. So allowing candidates to apply leadership concepts immediately in their daily administrative responsibilities is superb. At the same time, what I am curious about is not only how we're going to ensure that the job embedded responsibilities meet the same scope, rigor, and breadth as traditional field placements, right? But also thinking maybe more broadly on diverse leadership experiences that you may want to have folks also partake in as part of their embedding and preparation. And I just wanted to do sort of a check with you all on how you would go about ensuring and verifying that there's alignment in those expectations as well. Any thoughts on that would be great for this committee.
Yes, thank you, Agustin. So many of the job embedded opportunities that we have or learning opportunities for participants in our intern program include the supervision of instruction. And so they would have to complete certification in our educator development and support system. So this way they can support their school principal in supporting instruction and evaluation of teachers. So that's definitely one of the job embedded opportunities that's different with our intern pathway from our traditional PASC program. In addition to that, they will participate in all of the learning opportunities, but since they will be in the role of an administrator, they're going to be receiving coaching support in all of the different areas of our capsules, our learning standards, additionally to our school leadership framework, which outlines our professional learning standards for school leaders here in Los Angeles. And so they would engage in family and community engagement. They would engage with systems and operations. So all of the different capsule and SLF areas that we outline, we would engage in different types of learning opportunities that are more job embedded to their work context.
Thank you. Member Sykes.
First of all, thank you for putting this program together, and reviewing the documents. Like, it really, reflects that there's an area of need in LAUSD. So I think this is a much needed program. My question is about, given that LAUSD also has a district intern program for teachers, how, with the introduction of this program, will we ensure that district intern teachers are at sites that have a fully credentialed administrator, which is one of their program requirements, in it as this intern program for administrators rolls out?
Yes, thank you. So this program will really be targeting assistant principal positions. So all of the principal positions are fully credentialed administrators. So in regards to our teacher interns, they are placed in schools that have a fully credentialed, qualified school administrator. So we don't see a gap there. But it might be interesting to see some of the overlap in learning from our teacher induction programs, credentialing programs, right? And carrying over into our intern pathway. So we are having conversations in terms of job embedded learning opportunities and what we might learn from our existing teacher intern programs.
Thank you. That looks like all the questions we have. Do I have a motion to approve the preliminary administrative services credential intern pathway for LAUSD? Thank you, Member Cervantes.
Motion to approve the intern pathway to an existing preliminary administrative services credential program for Los Angeles Unified School District.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Member Campbell. All right, we will now do a roll call vote. When called upon, indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Staff, please call names.
Augustin Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Malika Bryant.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Connie Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
All right, it looks like the motion carries. Congratulations, and I really appreciate you filling that need that we see all around the state, but especially in those big districts like LAUSD. So good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing the success stories that you have there. All right, we are going to turn it over to co-chair McKee.
Thank you so much. And again, congratulations, LA Unified. It's always nice to see a new program and the program that comes forth the first time through. And also my appreciation to our committee members. For members of the public, you see a lot of reading goes into this and examination of the different programs. So I appreciate the attention to detail from everybody. We're going to move into our last institution, which is the preliminary PK3 Early Childhood Education Specialist Instruction Credential. It's a program at UC Merced. Joining us today from the University of California, Merced, to answer any questions you may have about this program are Dr. Mariana Harris, who's the Director of Education Programs, Diana Saucedo Nunez, who's the Coordinator of Cal TPA and BLA, and Myra Franco, who's the Credential Analyst and Program Manager. As we have them come in, are there any recusals on this item? I don't see any, and I see, do we have everybody here that we needed to have? I see 2 people. Are we waiting for anybody else? Ms. Bernardo?
There's 3 names.
Myra Franco, for the institution, are we waiting for Myra Franco?
Yeah. Hello, good morning. I'm Mariana Harris, and I do have with me in the room Myra Franco and Todd Smeltzer.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. We just wanted to make sure everybody was here and we weren't missing someone out in the virtual space. We have no recusals on this item. So we'll give an opportunity now. Would the institution like to speak a moment about their program that they're seeking recommendation for?
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for reviewing our proposal for the PK3 ECE Early Childhood Ed Specialist Instruction Credential. I have my team with me. I've got Diana Saucedo Nunez, who's the coordinator of our BLA and our Cal TPA. And I've got Laura Hendrickson, who is our reading specialist and coordinator of our clinical practice placement. And in the room with me listening in are our credential analyst, Myra Franco, and our education coordinator, Todd Smeltzer. And as a team, this was a great project for us. We are so excited to have this credential to be considered for the Central Valley. It's a very flexible online in-person offering. It's also, we value diversity with this credential and look forward to getting all of the multiple subject credential teachers who want to participate, as well as those with their early childhood permits for working in early childhood education centers. So we value the diversity that this credential will bring to support our earliest learners.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harris. And now we have an opportunity for public comments. Do you have any public comments on this item?
No public comments.
No public comments. Thank you so much, Ms. Bernardo. Now this is an opportunity for any members of the Committee on Accreditation, if you have any questions for the representatives from the University of California, Merced, and we'll begin with Member Cervantes.
Thank you for the opportunity. UC Merced, thank you for putting this forth. As we know, a new credential, it's a heavy lift while also trying to complement and toggle with existing credential programs, but of course, existing needs in our local communities with families and so forth. So I applaud you for putting this forth. My question is around criteria and processes to vet, approve, and evaluate fieldwork sites and mentor educators. I say educators because it's beyond teachers when we deal with the PK3 community. And so I just wanted to ensure that we had an understanding on how you're ensuring that your candidates are placed in high quality learning environments. Align with your program goals. You mentioned culturally responsive instruction, strong early literacy practices, support, of course, for multilingual learners. So maybe perhaps share a little bit on how you're doing that, the sites you're identifying to work with, et cetera.
Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. That's very, very important to us. We have a regional area that is very much interested in this credential. And with that commitment comes the fact that they have sites that are prepared to take on our candidates and to put them in environments where they will have exposure to the diverse learners, the multilingual learners, and all of the instructors and teachers credentialed who have already supported these grade levels. So we're very excited to be able to say that we've got districts who are knocking on the door saying that we would love to work with you and make sure that your candidates come through our program so ultimately we can hire them to be teachers in our schools and in our school districts.
We have Member Hallis.
Yeah, thank you so much for providing more opportunities and options for this PK3 credential. I know the different clinical experiences and fieldwork can be tricky with this credential, yes, and the candidates need to have a lot of different experiences. Can you talk a little bit more about how the TPA and how they tackle the TPA kind of is embedded in those experiences to where it's more, organic and authentic and not just another task?
Yes, thank you so much for that question, Mr. Hallis. And I've got Diana Salceda Nunez on, who literally coordinates my Cal TPA opportunities and offers seminars and individualizes instruction to make sure that all of our candidates are successful on the Cal TPAs. I'll go ahead and let Diana answer that question.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Just previous, we do have a multiple subject and a single subject route. And in those, we ensure that we have the support provided for candidates. So we also wanted to extend that opportunity to our PK3 candidates enrolling in the program. So one of the ideas that we came up with this for this program is to make sure that during their clinical practice experience, they have an opportunity to complete the performance assessments. So in our clinical practice, there's a phase 1 and a phase 2. In their first phase, they'll have an opportunity to delve in that first performance assessment. And in that they'll have an opportunity to be in placement, record, and really collaborate with that support system that they have, which is made up of the UC mentors, the cooperating teachers, and their instructors. And they'll also do that as they move on to the phase 2. They'll have their clinical practice experience, and coupled with that will be the performance assessment seminar. So that'll be the model that we follow. So we ensure that our candidates have the experience and the opportunity to successfully complete the performance assessment while they're in program with UC Merced TPP.
We have Co-Chair Bogdanovich.
Yes, thank you. I just, while reading through the remediation process for those who don't pass the Cal TPAs, I saw a couple of things that I just wanted to ask about. We know even in K-12 that those who perform poorly or below level aren't the ones who generally reach out to the teachers, and those are the ones who are disconnected. Why did you choose to have it their responsibility to contact the office instead of you reaching out to them when they have a failed score and initiating the remediation? And then why also charge? I know it's because they're already paying to retake, but the $200 recharge for a remediation process that might not even be successful. If you could just talk a little bit about those two things.
Of course. So that the first to answer your first question, the candidates we do have them reach out to us, but we also do our internal outreach. I know those TPAs just came in a couple minutes ago. I was just looking at them. So what we do in our program is we take a note, and then I also follow up with my colleagues, and we reach out. So there's a fusion. I know that's stated that they're responsible for outreaching, but we also, as a Cal TPA coordinator or performance assessment coordinator, I do make sure to reach out. So there's a fusion of both. Candidates reach out, but eventually it is our program responsibility to reach out to them and make sure that we share the information of the seminars and the seminar, the cost for that. That's a very good question that has come up, and that's basically to pay for my services as the Cal TPA coordinator. That's a response there. But I also provide the program provides free advising. We give advising sessions that they're all available. Former candidates from the different pathways, and we also will extend that to our PK3 candidates coming into the program, that if the remediation would not work or if they need additional services, that they still are supported through our program even beyond completion. So we make sure that that's an amenity that we offer as them being part of our program.
The interesting curiosity point, we'll get to Member Campbell, because the institution is required to provide continued supports, but whether or not that has to be free. And I think that's an interesting thing that was brought up. Member Campbell.
Thank you. I first want to say I appreciate your accreditation page. It was very organized, and it was enjoyable to see all the pieces of the charts. I enjoyed that, and it was very helpful. I have a question about, I want to go back to, you said something about your phase 1 and phase 2 with regards to the TPA and that they will have these experiences. And this item mentions that you are supporting both a traditional and a residency pathway. So I wondered what the experience, how different that experience will be, or what the differences are in the resident experience with regards to the TPA requirement.
The TPA requirement for the teacher residency is built into their clinical practice course and placement. So that will be something that we will monitor, and that we will also make sure that they have all of the templates, the guidebook, everything that they need to be able to attack that Cal TPA during the time they're in clinical practice. So that is built into the clinical practice placement. There's the one unit that is specifically for Cal TPA.
Right. I think I probably was not clear. When you have a phase 1 and phase 2 experience in traditional student teaching, and then the residency placement is one placement with one mentor across the school year, is there, how will you navigate having another experience for the P3 with regards to the clinical placement requirements for a P3 credential?
What we will do is we will make sure that that placement is not only taking place in the PK, TK area, but we'll also make sure that they're also getting the experience from the K through 3rd grade area. So we're going to divide that experience up. But for the teacher residency, we make sure that the 20 hours per week is consistent across the entire year, or the entire arc of the clinical practice placement. And so during that placement, you'll also get the Cal TPAs built in, so that you're making sure that you're taking care of those as you're doing your clinical practice placement.
Member Cervantes.
Thank you. Next question, maybe a little bit different in scope. I think a lot about how a credential in the ECE perhaps opens up the landscape so that more individuals from our local communities pursue a career in teaching and learning. I think of gainful employment, upward mobility of our families. And so I'm just curious about UC Merced's approach to having intersegmental partnerships and how you develop those to support the recruitment of your candidates. I'm particularly interested in hearing your thoughts around working with community colleges or local high schools that might have education pathways, or other existing early childhood educator pipelines in your region, right? So that folks now can see a trajectory, right? I can stack a credential, not only be part of the child development permit matrix, but it leads to a degree, it leads to a credential, perhaps a master's, right? Maybe I'm answering my own question, but I really would just like to get your thoughts on. I get excited about it because I've taught in ECE in the past, and this is one of those, I think, of incumbent workers a lot, and folks that we want to have join our educator professional ecosystem, right? And so just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, two things that are happening here at UC Merced. We do have dual enrollment for our early childhood, yes, and we offer the early childhood ed courses for those who want to get that early childhood ed child permit. So we do that partnership. In fact, we're meeting with students on Friday from the high schools to talk about a future education pathway. And then as well, we also have a new liberal studies major that is happening here at UC Merced. And so that will be another way for us to build in that pathway to information about getting the multiple subject and the PK3 credential. So we're really excited about that, Mr. Cervantes. So you've been, reading our minds on how the growth of this program has developed over the years. As the newest UC, we've been able to build in what the needs are from the community. And so we're going to make sure that our young people in the high schools, as well as our community college transfers, understand what is available as far as credentialing.
And to extend Member Cervantes in your institutions to be commended for finding pathways for people, especially people who are already in the career. And my question actually might be more for the CTC than the institution, because I was curious. I thought it was so interesting that they have 200 hours can be waived, and an additional 200 hours could be waived. So 400 of the 600. Like, is there a threshold? Like, I thought that was
the threshold.
That is a threshold. Okay,
It's
very
very,
good.
very, very clear in the clinical practice equivalency that the commission built, and it's in regs.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. You can waive up to 400 hours of if you have the right combination of experience that's outlined very clearly in the regs. So yes, absolutely, it's very clear.
That was so exciting to read when I saw that, and that was my learning opportunity as well, to see that you're finding a way, a pathway. I believe it is like if they have 6 years of experience, they got that extra 200 hours, and people who are already in the field can merge over to this certification. Wow.
That was extremely intentional on the part of it.
I figured it was. I figured it was my learning versus the institution. So thank you for that, Administrator Hickey. If there's no more questions from the committee or comments, this is also an opportunity for a member of, we already did public comment, I believe, as I think we're moving forward to a possible motion. So if there is any member of the committee who would like to make a motion regarding the preliminary PK3 early childhood education specialist credential for the University of California, Merced, and I saw Member Cervantes.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for us to approve the preliminary PK3 early childhood education ECE specialist instruction credential for traditional student teaching and residency pathways for the University of California, Merced.
Thank you so much. And I saw a second from Member Jones. So now this is an opportunity for a roll call vote with either an aye, no, or abstain. Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Yassin Cervantes,
Aye.
Ann Jones,
Aye.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Alan Hallis,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Malika Bryant,
Aye.
Jay Sykes,
Aye.
Bonnie Campbell,
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich, Michelle Hall,
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
It looks like we passed this unanimously. Congratulations, Dr. Harris, and to your entire team. We wish you the very best as you move this program forward.
Thank you so much.
And again, thank you so much for the intentionality of the program. I think that's what really came out through our questions, is our clarification and really hearing the intentionality of service to the community you serve. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to move on to item number 7 at this point, which is the report of program status changes. This item is divided into 2 parts. Part 1 includes items for action by the COA, and Part 2 are items for notification only and require no action by the COA. For Section A, program withdrawals, this is an action item. There are 2 program sponsors withdrawing 4 programs. Beginning with California State University, Monterey Bay, teacher induction effective March 12th, 2026, and Northeastern University, which is Mills College at Northeastern, preliminary multiple subject effective March 12th, 2026, preliminary single subject effective March 12th, 2026, preliminary education specialist early childhood special education effective March 12th, 2026. Before we move to action, are there any recusals on this item? I don't see any. So committee members, do you have any questions or comments on this item? I don't see any. Do we have a motion then to approve the withdrawal request for CSU Monterey Bay and Mills College at Northeastern University. And I see Member Jones.
See if I could do this right. I move that we approve the withdrawal of the teacher induction program for California State University Monterey Bay effective March 12th, and the withdrawal of the preliminary multiple subject, the preliminary single subject, and the preliminary education specialist, early childhood special education effective March 12th for Northeastern University.
Thank you so much. Well stated. Yes. Do we have a second on a member? We have Member Bryant as the second, and now it's an opportunity for roll call vote. Please indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Justin Cervantes.
Aye.
Anna Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Micah Bryant.
Aye.
Chase Sykes.
Aye.
Adam Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
Thank you so much. And it looks like motion carries. Part B, professional preparation programs requesting reactivation. There are no program sponsors requesting reactivation at this time. And Part C is adding a new content area to an existing program. And there's one institution requesting to add a new content area to their existing program. University of Southern California, bilingual authorization in Mandarin. We have representatives from University of Southern California if you have questions about the program. So we would like to welcome into our meeting Stephanie Dewing, Associate Teaching Professor of Clinical Education, and Kathy Krisha, Director of Accreditation and Credentialing. Before we begin, are there any recusals on this item? Seeing no recusals and just waiting, do we have Kathy here, and do we have Stephanie here? Just wait. Welcome, Kathy. Glad to see you here. Do you know, is Stephanie joining us?
She won't be able to. She had to teach class at 10, so she had to dodge out of there.
That's an important place to be. So we're going to then begin.
Hold on. You're the Kathy that works for me?
Yes, I am,
okay.
Jessica.
I have to recuse myself.
All right. Co-Chair Bogdanovich is going to recuse herself. Thank you for acknowledging that.
That's the downside of working online.
Yes, no worries at all. So I appreciate that. Any other recusals? All right. So with that, welcome. If you'd like to share a few remarks about your proposed program.
So I am not the expert, Stephanie is, but I will definitely, speak as much as I can about it. In California, we have such a diverse population, and there are a lot of Mandarin speakers, and there are just not enough Mandarin bylaw programs to provide teachers for the immersion programs that are coming out of the schools. So that was the genesis of the need that we saw. And our programs, as most of you know, are very integrated. Everything is fully integrated into our MAT. And so we do have some interesting opportunities to do some things that are different and to really try and fill those needs as best we can. And so we added this particular track, and we're hoping that this works well because we are considering adding other languages subsequently. So thank you for, giving us the opportunity, and yeah.
Thank you so much. And this is the opportunity then for public comment. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comments.
Public comment. Now an opportunity for members of the Committee on Accreditation with any questions or comments. And Kathy, I'm going to ask you a question, but it's not specific to this specific program.
Sure.
But I'm wondering, is this, because this is a high need area, is there going to be a way that your institution's going to get word out to maybe for recruitment to school districts, because school districts are looking for Mandarin teachers, but how are you going to maybe build relationships with school districts that have the dual immersion programs to say, hey, we have people graduating from us that might be contenders? What are your thoughts on that?
So one thing that we do really well with the MAT, we do like to build a lot of relationships with the school districts, and we are very fortunate to have a very robust marketing department that works, specifically with Rossier, that we specifically have a very concerted effort to recruit. And so we do have people that we have I forget her name, but anyway, she's new. We have a lot of new people, but they actually reach out to school districts and say, we have this program. It's like a mass email blast. We do get a lot of programs that contact our credentialing department, and we send out emails to our contacts for school districts there and say, hey, we've got a new program. And then, of course, also through the placement office, they are already in contact with several school districts. So they also threw a push of letting people know that we have a new program.
And I appreciate that. I know that with this particular language authorization, there is a need, and sometimes not knowing where some of these people may be graduating from, it's nice to know there's a way that it can be connected through your marketing department. So, Member Hillis and Member Cervantes.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. So my biggest question, I used to actually run a Mandarin program up in the state of Washington, and I've been experiencing this a little bit with even the BILA in Spanish, and that is to do with field work opportunities. And I would assume that with Mandarin, it's going to be even more difficult than it can be for obviously a language like Spanish. And so I'm curious what the discussions have been like within your school about, how do you identify and provide those experiences that will be needed for helping them get that authorization?
So the discussions that I've been involved with were through the placement office, naturally. And apparently there are some immersion schools and there are some schools out there that we've already been in contact with for those types of placements.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Member Cervantes?
Hey, Kathy. Hope all
Hello.
is well. Yeah, my question was going to be similar on recruitment and pipeline, as well as also the program structure and design. Because at times, and this is coming from a previous lifetime when I worked with bilingual authorization programs in the CSU, we would run a consortium model so that not one school recruited the entire cadre of students. It was a pooling of schools that got together. And it's not that there wasn't a need, it was more to making sure you're able to get the critical mass of students together. And they were coming from different pockets across the basin in LA. So I was just curious more on the structure of the program, if you needed to recruit a cohort versus just individuals being able to join it. And at times programs have taken an approach where you can still serve a multitude of languages through one authorization while still providing moments for specificity and of course field work, making sure it was in the proper language, etc. So the question might be out of place. It might be more for whoever designed the program. But that was one of the curiosities I had, because as much as we were in the San Gabriel Valley at Cal State LA, we're still finding a hard time recruiting a cadre of students to be able to serve them as a cohort, just in sheer numbers.
So for us, that's kind of the strength of it being a fully integrated program into the MAT. So we can support an individual. We don't necessarily have to have a cadre of students. We don't necessarily have to have 10 or 12 to have critical mass for this, because they are fully integrated into the program. And so the real work happens with the placement and the support. And we have, of course, the Mandarin instructor, the faculty member. And then, of course, when we work out those placements, that's kind of where we're at. So because it's fully integrated.
That was what I was figuring, but thank you just for confirming it. Appreciate it.
All right, this is an action item. Is there any member of the committee who would like to make a motion? We have Member Pernin.
I move to approve the added area of Mandarin for the bilingual added authorization for the University of Southern California. Hope I did that right.
All right, thank you. We have a second from Member Hillis, and this is an opportunity now for a roll call vote, indicating your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Augustin Cervantes,
Aye.
Ann Jones,
Aye.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Ellen Hallis,
Aye.
Mike Hillis,
Aye.
Malika Bryant,
Aye.
Jay Sykes,
Aye.
Connie Campbell,
Aye.
Michelle Hall,
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
Motion carries. Looks like Stephanie's going to leave class with some exciting news. Congratulations.
Thank you all very much, and thank you so much, Miranda. I know sometime of our our things look very interesting, and I always have a lot of interesting questions for you guys. And so, thank you so much for your patience and for your support. I really appreciate it. It is fantastic to see all of you.
Wonderful to see you as well. I'm glad you're able to join us today. We're going
Thank
to move
you.
on to part 2 now, which is sections D and E. The next 2 sections are notification purposes only, no actions required. In section D, it's programs transitioning. The speech language pathology programs are currently undergoing the transition process. These programs will be brought before the COA at our meeting in a summer 2026. In section E, programs moving to inactive status. This is information only, with 2 institutions requesting to move to inactive. And we have California State Polytechnic University Humboldt, their preliminary administrative services with intern effective March 12th, 2026, and Whittier College preliminary single subject effective April 20th, 2026. And item number 8 is initial program approval for new program sponsors. No requests for program approvals for new program sponsors at this time. And then staff has asked that we skip item number 9 for now to move to item number 10. And does any of our members of our committee, did you want a quick 5-minute break before we move on to the next section? I see a couple nods. So could we do just a 5-minute break?
Yes.
All right. So we're at 10:25. We're going to be back, and we'll be back with item number 10, which will allow us to get that set for all of us to skip forward to. And so just for informational item, we are back to a recording of our meeting, and we are going to, as mentioned earlier, we're going to get back to item number 9. So it hasn't been postponed. It'll just be tabled for later in our meeting. We're going to move on to item number 10, which is the report of the provisional site visit team to Los Altos Elementary School District. Consultant Hart Boyd will present this item. He's joined by team lead Emily Richards and institutional representatives Greg Drummond, Director of Teacher and Learning, Sarah Gerlinger, Curriculum and Instruction Coordinator. And will anyone be recusing themselves on this item?
I will recuse myself.
Member Campbell, thank you. All right, it looks like we have Emily, Hart, Sarah. Do we have Greg here?
I was notified that he's abroad right now and attempted to join the Zoom, but he has unstable Wi-Fi. So unfortunately, he won't be here. But Sarah's here to represent Los Altos School District, and you'll be in good hands with her, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Art. So if you would like to begin.
Yep. Thank you. The provisional site visit to Los Altos School District took place from February 2nd through the 3rd, 2026. The visit was conducted entirely by video technology. A total of 36 interviews were conducted with various constituents throughout the site visit, and the site visit proceeded in accordance with all normal accreditation protocols. Before we jump into the report, I'd just like to provide a brief reminder of the process leading up to a provisional site visit, which takes place during Stage 5 of the initial institutional approval process. We can think of Stage 5 as a truncated version of years 5 and 6 of the 7-year accreditation cycle. Los Altos School District provided submissions for preconditions, program review, and common standards in the year leading up to the visit, and those submissions were then reviewed by the members of the site visit team. Los Altos School District then provided responses to all feedback and worked with me over the past year to prepare for the visit. Los Altos School District is now in the home stretch of the IIA process, and after today's vote, the institution will either remain with the COA for follow-up or will move before the Commission for consideration of full institutional approval. Over the past year, I had the pleasure of working with the one representative joining us today, but it still was a pleasure working with Greg regardless. They were both extremely diligent and thoughtful in their approach to the visit, and I thank them for their time in their preparation. Also joining us today is our team lead, Emily Richards. Emily was an absolute joy to work with, and she was a fantastic leader throughout the process. I would also like to thank our other site visit team members, Tracy Allen and Lindsay Wickersham, for contributing their time and expertise to this visit. I'll stop there and turn it over to Emily, who will present the findings and the accreditation recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hart. Thank you, team, and I appreciate being here to present this to you, members of the commission. So it was an enjoyable number of days to get to know the Los Altos team and get to hear more about their program. As you will see in the report, everyone up from the superintendent all the way down really has a new teacher at the heart of both themselves and their district. Many of them started in teaching where they got to be mentors to new teachers. They worked in part of other programs, and really that is near and dear to both their individual hearts, but also their district. And one of the things that they really talk about throughout all aspects of their institution is this consistent guiding principle of supporting new teachers, both for the benefit of the teacher, but also for the benefit of their school district. And they really see the value of making sure that new teachers are well supported on their journey as educators. As you'll see in the report, we did find the unanimous recommendation of accreditation, both for preconditions, for program standards, and for common standards. I do want to note that in Common Standard 2, we did make a comment that one of the elements, evidence regarding progress in meeting competency and performance expectations, is consistently used to guide advisement and candidate support efforts. A clearly defined process is in place to identify and support candidates who need additional assistance to meet competencies. We stated that that was inconsistently met, but did find that overall the standard was met. And the reason why we made that sort of kind of unique, right, inconsistent, but met, was that in our conversations, they as a team already identified that this was an issue they wanted to work on. They have a new HR team in place, and so they've been working very diligently with that HR team to create systems. And so while those systems are not in place right now, we already saw blank documents and heard from them structures and ways to put that in place. And so we felt that while we felt we could not say it was consistently met because we did not see those things currently happening, we did not feel that that meant that the overall standard was not met, because they had already on their own, without feedback from the team, had put those things into place. And our comments to them was, you know, the things that you already put into place for next year will be the kinds of things that we would have asked you to put in place, but you've already realized that and noted that. And so that's why we felt like it was met because they really had taken those steps prior to us being there and noting that for themselves. Some of the highlights that I got to hear from being a part of this, and you'll see those in the process, was one of the things that I thought was beautiful, and I don't hear this all the time, and particularly in these sort of challenging budget issues, was both the superintendent, the assistant sup of HR, the director of C&I, really commented that in this time of the year, in the spring, as they're hiring new people, they don't allow their full release mentors to have a caseload of over 75%. They don't push them to a 1.0 in the spring. They leave that wiggle room because they know that they're going to probably be hiring teachers in the summer due to those last minute shifts. And oftentimes teachers that are hired in the summer are ones that do not have a clear credential. And so they really want to, from a planning standpoint, from an institution space, really make sure that they are not just thinking about those teachers that are there, that they've hired, but they're already thinking forward as an institution saying, you know, what happens if we hire someone in July? How do we make sure that they're able to start induction immediately, you know, like a person that we hired in May? And so I think that really rings true back to the statements that I made prior, that this program is really in all levels thinking about how do we support new teachers, right? Both about, right, kind of the mentality of the mentors all the way up to thinking about fiscal decisions. Another thing that I really want to shout out is, you know, both. So Sarah really has kind of the day-to-day operations. She meets regularly with the mentor. She does all of the PD. And we heard over and over again from current candidates, from recent completers, how much they felt well supported by Sarah and the mentors, that anything that they needed, they were there. In fact, one new teacher said, I didn't even know that you could ask, like, I needed copy paper and I taught kinder and I needed like more manipulatives, and they were there to help me for those things too. And so these teachers felt so supported in all aspects of teaching, both growing in their practice, but also those sort of practical day-to-day things of a new teacher, like, I need more desks, or how do I make copies? And so they felt like, in every moment that they felt supported, they felt guided. They never felt like they had to be on their own. Another thing that I thought was really wonderful about Los Altos was that they really talked about really listening to candidates, and that the support of the candidates really allows them to engage in goal setting. And so thinking about their goals are really new teacher centered, and how do we consistently make sure that what we are doing supports our candidates. And I think not only is that responding directly to the standards, but also modeling to teachers, how do we put a student-centered approach to our things. So I just want to, appreciate them, and let the program know a little bit more about sort of, why did we as a team give a full accreditation status to the Los Altos team. And really we saw the hard work and the dedication that they have to making sure that their program is one that both now and in the future consistently in all aspects supports the new teachers well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boyd, Ms. Richards. And now it's an opportunity for the institutional representative to briefly comment about their visit. And for all of our institutions moving forward this morning, we just say about maybe 2 to 3 minutes. As a reminder to everybody, it's an opportunity not to dispute the team's report, but rather to provide any additional thoughts or insights you have about the visit. So Ms. Gerlinger, did you want to share anything?
I would appreciate a little bit of grace at this moment. I was expecting that it was going to be Greg speaking right now. I very much am on the ground, care so deeply about what happens with our new teachers, with kids. That's the heart of the work. That is where the work is at, and that's why we're doing this. That's why we wanted to bring a program in-house. We believe that the local context really matters in terms of the support we're able to provide for teachers. And so that's where I was really coming from with wanting to pursue this and to put forth the very best mentoring for our candidates and to respond in real time in every possible way. So if there's more you want to know, I'm happy to expand, but that's truly from the heart what I believe and what I see happening in our program.
Thank you so much. And to help you out, we have all the written documentation here, so we promise not to ask too many hard questions. But definitely an opportunity, though, for any of our committee members in a moment. If you have any questions, just that quick reminder that Greg isn't with us today. This is an opportunity also for members of the public, if they would have anything they would like to share. As a reminder, if there are members of the public who would like to provide comment, please notify the meeting moderator either in person or by submitting a request card by clicking on the raise hand icon if participating through Zoom, or by pressing *9 if participating by phone. Are there any public comments, Ms. Bernardo?
No public comments.
Okay. And just a reminder to our COA that this is a provisional visit. So if approved here today, the institution still needs to go before the full commission for that final institutional approval. So just that reminder there. At this point, any members of our committee on accreditation, any questions do you have for the institution or from our lead or from the CTC? Yes, Member Jones.
Just a comment that this is a really long and daunting process. And the fact that you were both launching and simultaneously doing continuous improvement while going through the approval process is just incredibly impressive and speaks volumes to your commitment. So I just wanted to say kudos.
Thank you, Member Jones. And definitely any other questions anyone had, you're welcome to ask any questions that you'd like to of the institution or any additional comments. And this is an action item as well. So if anyone wanted to make a motion as well, you may also do that. We have Member Jones.
Okay, let me get this up so I'm saying the right thing. Okay, I move that we recommend accreditation for the Los Altos School District. And I can't find the name of the program.
Their elementary.
Teacher induction.
Yes.
Induction program.
Thank you. Elementary induction program. Thank you.
Excellent. And since it's provisional visit, that is that motion will work for that. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. We have a second by member Sykes. Thank you so much. And now it's an opportunity for the roll call vote. As a quick reminder, when you unmute and are called upon, please say aye, no, or abstain. Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Augustin Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Malika Bryant.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations, Ms. Gerlinger. We wish you the absolute success as you move forward now to the commission for final approval.
Thank you so much.
To 12, because we have people on that one.
Excellent. So with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to move out of respect for time. We're going to get back to number 9 in a little bit, but we're going to move to item number 12, and I'm going to pass this over to my co-chair.
Are we skipping 11?
Yes.
We
Yes.
we're going to skip 11 as the lights go out in Sacramento. We're going to skip 11 just out of respect for people who are in the waiting room and go to number 12.
Perfect. All right. Item 12. Do we have them in here?
We're bringing them in now.
We're bringing them in if you wanted to begin with just introductions.
All right. Item 12 is the report of the provisional site visit team to Folsom-Cordova Unified School District. Consultant Dr. Timothy Weeks will introduce this item. Joining him today are institutional representatives, David Bird, Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Jen Huber, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, and Joni Cunningham, Coordinator, New Teacher Support and Development. Does anybody need to recuse themselves? All right, I do not see any recusals. I do want to remind everyone that this too was an accreditation visit for an institution in provisional status for initial institutional approval. Dr. Weeks, will you begin, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, committee members. The provisional site visit to the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District took place on January 26th to 28th, 2026. This visit was conducted entirely by video technology via Zoom and in accordance with all normal accreditation protocols. A total of 108 interviews were conducted with various constituents throughout the site visit. As has already been mentioned, the provisional site visit, which takes place during stage 5 of the initial institutional approval process, or IIA, can be thought of as a truncated version of years 5 and 6 of the 7-year accreditation cycle. The Folsom-Cordova Unified School District submitted their responses to preconditions, program review, and common standards in the year leading up to the provisional site visit. And those submissions were reviewed by me and the members of the provisional site visit team. Folsom-Cordova Unified School District then responded to all feedback received on those submissions and worked with me to prepare for the provisional site visit over the past year. Folsom-Cordova Unified School District is now in the final steps of the IIA process. And if the site visit team's recommendation is accepted after today's meeting, the institution will remain with the COA for follow-up before moving forward to the commission for consideration of full institutional approval. I worked with the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District's new teacher support and development coordinator, Joni Cunningham, over the past year, completing all required submissions and preparing for the site visit. Joni was great to work with and was diligent in her preparation for the visit. Joining Joni today is also Dr. David Bird, Executive Director of Human Resources, and Dr. Jim Huber, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Also joining us is team lead Rhonda Muniz. She was an absolute joy to work with and was a fantastic leader throughout the process. I would also like to thank the site visit team members, Heather A. Peterson and Michael Gomez, for contributing their time and expertise to the visit. I would also like to remind everyone that the process leading up to a provisional site visit is much more involved in preparation for a typical accreditation site visit. And all three team members convened several times over the summer of 2025 to review and provide feedback for the institution's submissions. The team worked amazingly well together throughout the lead up to and during the site visit, and I would like to thank them for their support and dedication to the accreditation process. I will now turn the presentation over this item over to team lead Rhonda Muniz, who will present the finding in the accreditation team's recommendation. Rhonda?
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Munoz, and I had the privilege of serving as a team lead for the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District Teacher Induction Program site visit. And I would also like to take a few moments to thank a few people who were instrumental to the success of the site visit. First of all, so our CTC consultant, Timothy Weeks, thank you for guiding and supporting us throughout the visit and just being a strong leader. And for our team members, Heather Peterson and Michael Gomez, who, like Dr. Weeks said, we met several times over the summer and before the visit, and they were just dedicated and worked tirelessly throughout the visit. And especially Joni Cunningham, who was the induction director, just her planning and organization and responsiveness really ensured that the virtual visit ran smoothly, and she was just very responsive to any questions that we had. So as Dr. Weeks said, our site visit took place virtually January 26th through the 28th of 2026. During the visit, numerous constituents were interviewed, and we reviewed an abundance of evidence for each standard, which led us to our recommendation. And our recommendation was an accreditation with a 7th year report for the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District Teacher Induction Program based on the following. We found that all preconditions were determined to be aligned. The teacher induction program standards 1, 2, 3, and 5 were found to be met, and standards 4 and 6 were found to be met with some concerns. And then common standards 2, 4, and 5 were met, and then common standards 1 and 3 were met with concerns. The 7th year report shall describe the actions taken by the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District Teacher Induction Program to address each of the common standards and program standards that the site team determined to be met with concerns. And the team's, the induction program team for Folsom-Cordova, I know has already started working on them, but I think that 7th year report just continuing to report out on the progress that they're making would be beneficial. And I would also want to take a few moments just to kind of point out some of the highlights that this team, the induction team has, that Folsom-Cordova already has in place. I mean, during our interview and a review of the evidence, it was really evident that they already have a strong program design and leadership in place. Candidates consistently describe the program as very well structured, very organized, and they were very happy with clear calendars and timelines and expectations, which, you know, once they know that, you know, it's, you know, clarity is what we're looking for, right, with our candidates. That robust mentoring system was in place. Candidates, you know, really cited that they had that strong relational trust with their mentors and found that you know, it was really grounded in the CSTPs, which we're all looking for. And then there was that continuous improvement that was continually going and being looked at, that there were frequent opportunities for them to provide feedback on things that were happening within the program, especially after professional learning and the workshops and the ILP process. So they felt that their feedback was being taken and implemented in throughout the process. And so there was clearly some high candidate satisfaction and high impact with those candidates that was very evident through our interviews and through the review. And it was also evident when we were interviewing the site administrators, they could really see the impact of the mentors with the candidates in that real time. They could see those strategies being implemented with their new teachers. So with that being said, I'll just turn it back over. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that additional information. All right. We now invite the institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We want to remind you that this is not time to dispute the team's report, but rather provide any thoughts you had about the visit.
I'd love to jump in. Hi, everybody. I'm Joni Cunningham and the proud coordinator of new teacher support and development, running the teacher induction program here with Folsom-Cordova. On behalf of our program, I just want to thank the commission and the review team that we were able to work with. We sincerely appreciate the time and expertise that we received, dedicating to the evaluation of our process. This journey has been bigger than I thought and quite informational. It was invaluable, I guess, just to reflect upon the support that we're receiving, the support that we need, and how to just keep going. But as the new educators transition into this profession, we're doing the same thing we're asking them to do, constantly just be evolving and reflecting and looking. So we are looking forward to seeing how we continue to grow. And I do want to say a very great thank you again to Tim Weeks, who guided us and prepared us along the way with that long journey. And again, very, very, very grateful for our accreditation team, the reviewers that came in of Rhonda, Heather, and Michael, just who never have gone through something like this, made it very user-friendly and rewarding. So I just really, on behalf of our district and on behalf of our new teachers, just want to say we appreciate the partnership and the mission to help support the generation of all the new teachers coming in.
Thank you so much for that. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from committee members?
And member co-chair Bogdanovich, I just wanted to mention something really fast before we jump into the committee members, just about process, because this is a provisional site visit that also has a seventh year report. And a question may come up like, how does that all kind of work out? Just to know for the institution as well, is that they would have to reach what's needed here before they would go through the commission, in case that's anyone's questions here. So for the institution, if they want to move some of that stuff up faster and working with their consultant, that would count almost the same as the stipulation. It's kind of just the same process that today, if there's a seventh year report that is motioned and approved, then they could move that up faster, much like they would a stipulation. And Mr. Hickey, do I have that one right? And then
Yes, you do. So it's a little awkward because this is the first time we've had a provisional site visit with the seventh year report recommendation. So it made us think we need to be clearer about that and what happens. Do we move an institution forward to the commission with questions on the table that the commission may ask, or is it better for us to hold it from going forward to the commission, let them work on those met with concerns, and that way they should fly through the commission, right? So that's we want to formalize that in our handbook, just to let you know. But it did raise that because we hadn't thought about that situation. So I think I would recommend, I mean, just as a staffer, I think to let them address the met with concerns. They can come back as soon as they're ready to say, hey, we've addressed everything, and they don't have to wait a whole year. And then come back here, and then we can move you forward to the commission. So,
and whoever's making a motion today, you would just really want to make sure when you make that motion that that allowing them the opportunity to come back to our committee first before being recommended to the commission. And for Ms. Cunningham, this is out of support for you. We want you to go to the commission without any questions. And so to come here, get that resolved first, and then go to the commission would make that process cleaner for your institution. But that would have to come out. I'm not projecting a motion right now. I'm just explaining a process when it gets to the motion. So for our co-chair Bogdanovich, I'm sorry for interrupting, but that might solve some questions also.
Thank you so much for that clarification. All right, committee member Bryant.
Thank you. So first I want to say, I want to recognize all the hard work that gets you all to this point, the team and the program. It's big work, but to kind of align with what Co-Chair McKee was saying, that was actually my question. Was a bit around this piece with a 7th year report when there are 4 standards that need to be addressed. Can I ask the team members why you didn't go with stipulations so that it could be moved along faster and address that fact? We actually have a team coming later in the day with a 7th year report that had all of their standards met, but there were some things that they needed to address in a 7th year report. So part of my wonder is around consistency and calibration in terms of how that's addressed from site visit to site visit to site visit. I know that can't all be handled in this conversation, but there are guidance and guidelines around making those decisions. And so would it potentially assist this program actually to either move that up or create a stipulation process so that it could be addressed faster as well?
Is that question being addressed to me?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. As a team, we did discuss, and as a team, we felt that these were not arising to the concern of or arising to a stipulation. There was evidence through the interviews that, for example, that there was already awareness, and the team, the leadership team for Folsom-Cordova was already aware of some of the things that needed to be addressed, and we're already in the process of working on them. And we're starting to take those steps.
Just a side note, there's some construction here. So if you see us all looking around, there's just some wonky noises. And if you're hearing it on your end, our apologies, but there's nothing we can do.
No, things were switching around and I was like, where did people go? So sorry.
No worries. You see us, if you see our body language is not any way representing what we're hearing from any of you, it's out the window.
I can also confirm we're not hearing it from out here.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's a good thing.
All right, committee member Leggett.
Yes, thank you so much for all of your hard work. I did take a look at the mentor qualifications and noted how when the mentor credential alignment is not available, the program addresses the challenge by aligning candidates with additional support. Can you share more about that process? As we all know, throughout the state of California, mentor matching can be a challenge, but share more of that thought process that you intend to work through.
Absolutely. So we've got a team of full release mentors that go out, and they have a variety of credentials that they support. But on the occasion, we've got candidates that might step out of their direct range. We've got lead teachers that sit within our curriculum and instruction department that we count on to lend that particular credential expertise. In addition to, we then have another process where we go straight to the department chairs at the sites. Obviously, this takes place at the secondary level, that middle school and high school level with a single subject. So we just keep working our way down. So we start with the provided mentor, and then go to our CNI department, which would have specific credential matches and supports if needed. And then we can add additional support through departments or specific subject-related credentials from the site, if that makes sense.
Yes, it certainly does. Thank you so much for the clarity.
Thank you. Member Cervantes.
Uh, Thank you, Member Leggett, for that question. Mine was going to be on mentor capacity and evaluation. Having had worked in credential programs, I think a lot about how do you manage caseloads, how do you protect time for mentoring, as well as being able to offer formative feedback on a consistent basis, right, to all your candidates. But I did want to just also ask a question on the two more salient areas where inconsistencies were found. And one was on supervision, training, and evaluation, as well as just resource allocation for program sustainability. And just I'll leave it open on what actions the district is planning to take. When it comes to supervisors, we know how dicey that is. In fact, one of the salient areas whenever we do find inconsistencies through this committee is on supervision, training, evaluation, and recognizing how to get a consistent system in place, particularly when we're working with our local districts and folks who are adding this as part of their work, whether on site or through assignment, maybe additional assignment or a duty as assigned, right? So one is on that. The second one on resource allocation is how do we make sure you can operationalize your preparation program so that it can work and you have all the resources you need to be successful. Again, having had worked at a university that had credential programs, I knew how much it took to make that happen. I can only imagine as a district what you would have to sort of put in to make that work. And so just would love to hear more about what you're doing and how you're addressing those. And Tim, go ahead and address any of those pieces if you got it.
What I just wanted to make clear was before we actually go to the decision is just to remind the COA that the guidelines in the accreditation manual, so that the team deliberations were guided by the guidelines in the accreditation handbook in chapter 8, which does state that a status of accreditation can be achieved even if one or two common standards are identified as met with concerns, and that there's one or more areas of concerns identified within the credential programs, and that any such operational implications should be followed up with a 7th-year report. So just wanted to remind everyone that the deliberations did follow the guidelines in the accreditation handbook in making a accreditation recommendation of accreditation with a 7th-year report.
Could I chime in on the last question? Perhaps that might be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
So apologies, first of all, I'm at a site that for whatever reason, my computer is having a hard time connecting with, and every time I try to go to video, I then lose your audio and you guys freeze. So apologies for not having my camera on. My name is Jim Huber. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. And I can share with you that we as a district over the last 2 years especially have really started to lean into we've always been a PLC district. I shouldn't say always, but for like the last 8 years, we really became a district-wide PLC district. We've been working very consistently on those approaches. But in the last 2 years, we've also really invested as part of that process into improvement science and continuous coaching. In fact, our new superintendent, one of his main tenets is everyone that works in our system has to coach and be coachable, both vertically as well as horizontally. And so one of the things we'll be doing, for instance, for coordinators and directors such as Joni, is we are contracting through IHI in terms of their year-long coaching program. And so it's training and support for our administrators, our coordinators, our site leaders, et cetera, in terms of that consistent approach to coaching so that they are, they have the tools to approach support, approach feedback, approach coaching in such a way that it's coming alongside and building folks up and leaning into both the areas where they have strong skill sets, but then helping them think through areas where they might have a blind spot or they might need some additional support or some additional professional development, et cetera. We're really just trying to change in our district, it was always attached to the evaluation. And we want to move away from that. We want to move away from folks feeling like, here it comes. Actually, no. When we come in as your coach, we're here because it's all about supporting you. And so that is the approach that we're taking. We have our second cohort starting right now. Joni and several of her coordinators will be in cohort number 3, which will start next year. So I don't know if that helped in terms of that question.
Certainly did. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Co-Chair McKee.
And just and thank you so much, and to the institution for your hard work. And just a side note, kind of with the communication and ideas being reflected today. Michelle Bernard did send everybody the quick guide. You probably remember this orange one if you're here in person, but it was emailed to you just with questions on process. In terms of what was presented today is a recommendation. The Committee on Accreditation has the final decision when a motion's made on what that could be. And because, again, to what Ms. Hickey has shared, it's kind of a unique situation also because it's provisional with a follow-up report, which they have to come before us anyway, which is kind of mirrors. And I think what we're looking forward to is in the future that probably wouldn't happen. It probably would just go to the stipulation, to Member Brian's point, for the future. But we're here today where if there is a recommendation to change that is in the purview of the Committee on Accreditation, or this particular program to maintain it as that 7th year and giving them the opportunity. Either way, they have to come back here. So I don't want anyone to be confused on process, but to the point of, yes, moving forward, this probably wouldn't be in the conversation for today. So I just wanted to acknowledge everyone's attention to seeing all those details, but you do have that in case you want to make any other type of recommendation. Yours isn't orange though on the email, it's just a spreadsheet. So thank you, Co-Chair Bogdanovich.
Thank you. All right. So again, this is an initial institutional approval, and the site visit team recommended accreditation with recommendation for a 7th year report. Committee, we would like to consider adding into the motion to keep the program from moving forward to the commission until all issues are addressed, and then coming back to us at that time. Again, that's a recommendation, and this is a motion. So do we have a motion from a committee member? Yes, Committee Member Hall.
I move that we move forward the recommendation for the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District for its preliminary, is that right? Accreditation with 7th year report. Did I say that right?
Provisional.
Provisional, thank you.
Accreditation with the 7th year report. Okay. Second.
Can I second with it? But I want to make sure we added on the piece that was just shared. Can I don't know how we are supposed to say it, but can I say second with the add-on of that they are not able to move forward to the commission until all matters have been resolved? But I don't want, are you comfortable if I add that on, Member Hall, to your motion?
I am comfortable, and I don't know if I need to actually say as well, they can do it faster than a year if they are ready. Anytime they're ready.
Okay.
And I agree, seconding that update of this update.
All right, we will now do a roll call vote. When called upon, indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Staff, please call the names.
Allison Agassi.
Aye.
Justin Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Micah Bryant.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Bonnie Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Tricia Purden.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. We want to thank you, Mr. Bird, Huber, Cunningham, and Weeks for your attention in here today and for all of our discussions. And we will be seeing you back hopefully very shortly.
Could I ask a process question real quick?
Absolutely.
So does that simply mean that Joni, specifically Joni and her team, continue to work with the team that visited us, or is this these issues we'll continue to work on, and when we feel like we've reached a point where we've addressed them, we reach directly to you? What's just the next steps in terms of this process, and then again bringing them forward when we feel like we have addressed them?
Absolutely. So Joni's going to continue to work with Mr. Weeks, and Mr.
Okay.
Weeks will guide on next steps.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so
Awesome. No,
much.
I appreciate it. We don't want anyone leaving not knowing where we're at. And on that same vein, and my apology, Co-Chair Bogdanovich, we have people in the waiting room, so we're actually going to move the agenda around a little bit again, and not trying to create any confusion. We're going to actually move to item number 14, then item 15, then back to items number 9. So I want to, with the support, because I have Ms. Hickey next to me, I want to make sure that we're on the right page, and I know we're going back and forth, but we want to respect people who are in the waiting room. And so with that, we're going to move to item number 14, which is the report of the accreditation site visit team to Evergreen Elementary School District. We have consultant Dr. Frances Keller, who will present this item. She is joined by team lead Aaron Davis and institutional representatives Dana Rose, teacher induction coordinator, Tanya Trim, Assistant Superintendent of Education Services. And for this item, does anyone need to recuse themselves? Seeing none, Dr. Keller, good morning. You can begin.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to present the report from the Evergreen Elementary School District accreditation site visit that was successfully conducted live and in person, February 2nd through the 4th of this year. The protocols for this visit were all in accordance with normal procedures for an in-person site visit. At this time, I'd like to thank institutional representatives, including Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, Tanya Trim, and the Induction Program Coordinator, Dana Rose, for their collaborative and thoughtful work in preparing for the visit and for being so responsive and proactive throughout the process. I would also like to extend my deep appreciation for the wonderful work and collegial collaboration for our site team members, Aaron Davis, Christina Stephanie, and Susan Keller-Holtz. Their deep knowledge of our accreditation system and respective programs, in addition to the expertise of early educator development, was a tremendous asset, resulting in conscientious and collaborative work. It was a joy to learn with them and from them over this time of this in-person visit, and just to be together in that space once more. I'll turn it over now to our team lead, Aaron Davis, to report on the visit and the team's findings. Aaron.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank the COA for inviting me to speak on behalf of our team's findings. I do have to say I was looking forward to a little bit of entrance theme music before this, but we're going to move forward on it. So before I go over the findings and accreditation recommendations for our site visit, I just want to extend a thank you to Dr. Keller for her guidance throughout this process, for our site team, Christina Stephanie and Susan Keller-Holtz, and for their work and thoroughness during the visit, and especially to the Evergreen staff, Dana Rose, the induction coordinator, Dr. Hawkins, superintendent, Tanya Trim, the assistant superintendent of Ed Services, and of course, all of the Evergreen faculty and staff for arranging such a well-organized visit, and also just recognize all of their efforts that they put into the whole accreditation process, especially being in person for this one. It was apparent that they spent a lot of time preparing for this visit. Their documentation was very well organized, easy to navigate. The staff went above and beyond to ensure that the site visit team had every resource available to make a thorough review of the program. And we're very responsive to any of our extra asks or last minute requests. And then one more thank you was to Jessica Villalobos for all her hard work in ensuring the site visit team had amazing accommodations throughout the visit, and great snack bags too for late night writing in the hotels. That was great. Some key highlights that I'd like to emphasize with the Evergreen Induction Program is they clearly have a robust system of mentoring that effectively supports candidates growing in their teaching practice. Throughout the interview process, it was clear that Evergreen has an effective leadership infrastructure that is interconnected through collaboration with its educational partners throughout the district, community, and other institutions of higher education. There's a real strong emphasis on equity and cultural relevance, which was especially evident in their SMARTY goals, which I personally love seeing. It's the E at the end of the SMART, which was just them adding an equity perspective that was sort of interwoven into each of their CSTP aligned goals. At this point, I want to just share our overall findings for the report. The team found that all preconditions were aligned, all program standards were determined to be met, and that all of the common standards were determined to be met. We did find an inconsistency in the last part of Common Standard 1. This is how the educational unit monitors the credential recommendation process that ensures candidates have met all of the requirements. The team, we deliberated and found that the program definitely has a process in place and that candidates are monitored, ensured they have met all of the recommendation requirements, especially according to Program Standard 5. The confusion really came from who oversees the actual processing of the credential recommendation at the end of the program. And what it really kind of appeared to boil down to is you have a new staff, HR staff, you have a new induction director, and it really came down to, I think once they have a chance to apply the process, that they're really going to be able to cement what the roles are in it. At this point, I'm going to, or just say the team recommends that the Evergreen Induction Program for accreditation, and I'll turn it over to the COA at this point.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. And now we invite the institutional representatives to briefly comment about the visit. We remind you that this is not a time to dispute the team's report, but rather to provide any additional thoughts or insights. So we have Dr. Trim, Dr. Rose, anything you would like to share?
Yeah, so I'll start. I just don't quite have my doctorate yet, but that is a goal. That is
I figured it was a safer title, so you have it for right now.
Well, thank you so much for that elevation. I just want to certainly to thank Dr. Keller and is it Dr. Davis or Mr. Davis for for their leadership and guidance through this work. We really appreciated having an in-person visit. That was a must-do from our superintendent, Dr. Hawkins. Really wanted the visit to be in person. We felt like it would give us an opportunity to really showcase Evergreen, to tell our story, to have the commission see, the practices that we have in place. And so to that end, thank you so much for your leadership and guidance. And then also to our induction lead, Dana Rose, new to the role, new to the position, new to the accreditation process. As myself, I was a bit cementer way back in the day. And so I believe that Steeped in Evergreen is a community of folks that really believe in growing teachers and their in their instructional practices, but doing the very best that we can to support the students that we serve. So I'm grateful for the experience and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Trim. Is now an opportunity for public comments on this item? Ms. Bernardo, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Thank you so much. Now is opportunity for any questions or comments from our committee. Quick question while we wait to see any raised hands. I think, and knowing that some people are newer to our roles kind of makes sense with what Mr. Davis is sharing, just some processes. I think that our committee would probably agree that probably one of the most important parts of this process is making sure there's a clear process in place for recommendation of a credential. Like that is like a significantly important step. So what steps has Evergreen taken since this finding to make sure that the credentials being recommended by your school district are meeting the standards of the state of California?
Yeah, so with that, thank you so much for the question. So we have been in conversation with our human resources department. So the credentialing piece, the recommendation for credentialing is going to be handled in our human resources department between the assistant soup of human resources, the director, and they have a specialist over there as well. So the finding, I know you said that this is not a time to dispute, and I'm not doing that at all. But with that piece, we are working on delineating a very clear process, but it will be handled through through our human resources department, and then our induction lead, Miss Dana Rose, is going to be working in collaboration with them to assure that the candidates, as they are completing, all of their requirements, there will be a clear indication that they have met the requirements for the recommendation for their credentials. So that's what's been happening in the background.
Thank you. And that definitely sounds like a pretty straightforward process. So I appreciate you sharing the feedback on that. Any other questions or comments from our committee?
We have to kick it later.
And we have Member Hall.
Yeah, I just wanted to appreciate your mentorship component. As we've seen throughout today, and it's just sort of an ongoing challenge, is that, the supports that candidates are receiving and your smartee goals and the supports you're providing, they're excellent. And I really hope that we can share that around the state as some sort of maybe a role model or some sort of best practices as we continue to work on supporting more strong mentorship in the programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Miss Dana Rose, for that. Adding that E. Equity has been something that our district has been focusing on. This is my 26th year in the district. So people that tend to work in Evergreen tend to stay for a very long time. And so equity is not something new that we've been working on, but certainly Dana has been very intentional in adding that E to SMART goals. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. And Member Pernin.
I want to thank you too for clarifying what you're going to do in that whole process for gaining your credentials. So thank you again. And then as well, I'm going to also say, yes, kudos on everything with the equity that you're doing, the two of you working together and working throughout your district for such a long time on this and making sure that it is part of your induction program. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? And also as a reminder, this is an action item if anyone also has a motion. We have Member Campbell.
Thank you. I move that we accept the recommendation of accreditation for the Evergreen Elementary School District.
Thank you. And we have a second from Member Cervantes. So at this time, we are going to do a roll call vote. As a reminder to indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Ms. Bernardo.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Augustine Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Alan Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Malika Bryant.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Bonnie Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
And motion carries. So congratulations to Evergreen on your hard work and dedication and the approval of your program.
Thank you so much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Thank you. We appreciate your hard work and dedication in the field and wish you the absolute best moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move to item number 15, which is the discussion of the 7th year report for San Mateo-Foster City School District. We have consultant Roxanne Perdue who will present this item, and joining her today are institutional representatives Susie Riley, the coordinator of teacher induction, Beth Luttrell, the induction consultant, Maria Inez Iregi Vargas, my apologies if I didn't say your name correctly, administrative assistant, and Superintendent Diego Ochoa. Does anyone need to recuse themselves on this item? See any recusals? And we're just going to wait a moment so we can get the team to be able to join us. And I see Roxanne, I see Beth, I see Susie, Maria, and Diego. Are we still expecting Superintendent Ochoa?
I think so.
I think Dana Rose was on the last one that, yeah, thank you.
The Rose was the last one, so.
Susie, Beth, and Maria.
So, oh, you guys are in the same room together. Thank you. All right,
Can you
very
hear
good.
us? We're
So we
together. Can you add her
excellent.
in?
So we have Ms. Riley
Can you hear me?
and we can hear you, yes, perfectly. Ms. Luttrell, and just double checking for Ms. Riley, are we waiting for Mr. Ochoa?
We are. He is in Pittsburgh and joining us momentarily. We're
you
going to
want
go
us-
ahead and start, and he'll just come in just a minute, hopefully.
I appreciate you letting us be able to begin. Thank you so much. And then Ms. Bernardo will just be watching in the waiting room for Mr. Ochoa. And with that, we're going to ask
And our
that.
colleague Beth Luttrell's here. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. We're going to ask Ms. Purdue to then begin this item.
Oh, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a little trouble connecting. Good to hear that. Good morning still, committee members. And I want to thank the San Mateo-Foster City School District team for joining us today. When I say team, one thing about the district and Superintendent Ochoa and this particular program is that they are really focused on teamwork. And it's one of my favorite parts about working with them because I got to be part of their team. We have a report here in front of us. It's a 7th-year report that is updating us on the areas of continuous improvement that they had already started prior to their site visit and just continued on in the implementation process. They were a fall site visit into fall site visit, and so they had more of the year to go in collecting data and implementing those new procedures and processes that they had done. And so they kept in touch with me the year after, and frankly, the rest of their site visit team still keeps in touch with them because they do some creative work there. And that site visit team, including their team lead, still keeps in touch with them asking for advice and asking for input on their own programs because like I said, they've been doing some really interesting work. One of the things that's interesting about this 7th-year report for San Mateo-Foster City School District is that this is an information action item, but there are no stipulations for that 7th-year report. They were recommended for accreditation, and the COA provided that, with the only action being to accept this report in its 7th year. The program had a change in leadership. Susie Riley was not the coordinator when I started working with them at the start of the year, and she wasn't with them when, program review was submitted and common standard review was submitted. And she comes on partway through the year, and she just hits the ground running. And sometimes you work with a group, and they don't want to start anything new because they also have the actual site visit to coordinate, which is a heavy lift, as we know, in and of itself. But they said, they saw no reason to have it continue on in a direction that they didn't fully support. And so before the start of the school year, during that summer, when she took over, the team was meeting with me regularly. They were meeting with each other, and they included a consultant who worked for the district before in the BITSA area, and was able to give them more support in the development of changes and improvements, continuous improvements to their program. Continuous improvements, not just a phrase that they use. They live and breathe it in their program. And that was really evident to me. This report covered what it needed to cover. It gave me the evidence I needed to see, the documentation I needed to see, that those new areas that they had implemented at the beginning of the year had continued forward and created the support that they needed within their system for their program, for their credential induction program. And I would say it's a very thorough report. With that, I will pass it along to the team to give their feedback on the report and the visit and what they've worked on during this on the after the COA action.
Thank you, Ms. Purdue. Do we have a team lead on this one, or is it?
No, I think by team, I think she meant the institution.
Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you. I want to make sure I didn't.
The team at the institution.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to now invite the institutional representatives. I want to make sure I didn't skip somebody to briefly comment about the visit. Remind you, it's not a time to dispute the report, but rather to provide any thoughts you might have about the visit. So just a opportunity to briefly share anything you'd like to share from your district, from San Mateo-Foster City.
Thank you so much. I'm Susie Riley, and I'm proud to be here representing our team. We are a collaborative group, and we are so grateful to share with you today our 7th year report and the findings that we had coming out of this in terms of the work that we have done and continue to do. Our partnership with Roxanne as our consultant from the CTC has been invaluable, and she has continued to meet with us as a team and with me continually since June of 2024. When I first came on board, she met with me 3 hours every week so I could learn everything that I needed to know moving forward, which was not an easy feat. Anybody who knows that they would not want to meet with me that often, but she never ran away. She stuck with it, and she allowed me to learn and study and be very patient and gave me homework to do and different things. So we were able to come through that. So I'm grateful for that. Our accreditation site lead, Dr. Lloyd Aqua, was amazing and very dedicated and hardworking, along with the teammates. Allison Beach and Carrie Sotro were also extremely positive and professional in their approach. Of course, our team would never have been successful without our hardworking consultant, Ms. Beth Luttrell, who's also on here, and my partner always, Maria Nez, who is such an integral part of our induction program, our administrative assistant who does everything to support our teachers. We have a great pride in our program, and we know that our team would not be as successful without all the parts that we play with our entire district office, led first and foremost by our positive and visionary superintendent. I'm sorry I shared that he was visiting in Pittsburgh school today, and I was hoping to get here. So I'm sorry that he's not. He might be able to come on in a few minutes, but I'm not sure he'll make it. But his work always reminds us that what is best for our students always ultimately starts with what is best for teaching, and our teachers start with that work. And we are committed and dedicated to providing our students with the best teachers every day. Our international teachers are a foundational part of what we provide for our students, and we have had great success with that program, engaging in international candidates from the Philippines, and then adding on this year teachers from Guatemala and Mexico City. We like to provide students with teachers that culturally represent and match the students that they see in the classroom. So with that, I'm going to ask Mrs. Luttrell if she'd like to add to that. Anything about our program?
I had the good pleasure of being the person who wrote the standards back about 15 years ago. And it's been continuous improvement. And Susie is a great improvement to this program. And it's just been a joy.
Equally so, working with Beth and with Roxanne is much. Maria Inez.
It just brings me joy to make a difference in our educators' journey by helping them clear their credentials, and just for them to join our San Mateo-Foster City community. It's just we try to do or help as much as we can with them, and they are really grateful. So that makes us pretty happy, and just I'm glad to be part of this team.
Thank you so much. And we're grateful for all of you for allowing us to share a little bit about our program. And again, continuous improvement is what we do every day for our students and for our teachers and for our induction program. And we're really honored to be able to share a little bit with you. And with that, if you have questions, we're happy to answer.
Thank you. We're going to move on to public comment right now, and we'll check in
taking
to
it out
see
of order.
if we have no problems at all. Ms. Bernardo, are there any public comments on this item?
No public comments.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now this is an opportunity for our committee members if there's any questions or comments you have for the institution. We have Member Sykes.
Yeah, just kind of continuing on in the vein of continuous improvement or using data. One of the things that really stood out to me in the documents that you provided was the results of your end of year induction survey data. And really, it reflects the efficacy of the program based on the responses, and just really felt like that was a strong piece of evidence as just really sharing the strengths of your program. So thank you for one, including that, but two, I think it's a valuable piece for participants within a program to lend their voice around how the program is supporting them, as well as noting what changes could be made in the future.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we really take great pride in our governing board with such a mixed group of folks serving on that board, including our wonderful IHE representative from our local NDNU, Notre Dame de Namur University. She helps to guide us to see that powerful connection with the university. So our candidates moving from their credential to getting a clear credential shows that connection, and then they're able to share their perspectives from moving from a university or programs into their own classroom and sharing how that works, and really having different voices from year one, year two, early completion, mentors. Everybody shares what they need and what we can do to better affirm what we can offer, and then also always hearing their voice. Beth, anything to add on that? Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from our committee members or any other comments? All right, this is an action item. Is there a motion to accept the 7th year report? And we have Member Hall.
I move to accept the 7th year report of now let's say the full name right, San Mateo-Foster City School District.
So thank you. And we see a second was from Member Jones, and this is going to be a roll call vote. So again, when you are called upon, if you could say aye, no, or abstain.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Justin Cervantes.
Aye.
And Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Helen Hollis.
Aye.
Mike Gillis.
Aye.
Malika Bryant.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Tony Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall.
Aye.
Patricia Prince.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much to your organization for all your hard work and dedication and the work you're doing to support all of your newest educators. We wish you the absolute best moving forward.
Thank you so much for having us today. And thank you again to our consultant, Roxanne Purdue, as well. Thank you all very much for having us, and we wish you a great day.
Thank you. And for our committee on accreditation, just a quick little reminder about our agenda. We're going to now move back to number 9. I'm going to lead that. I'm going to pass it over to our co-chair, who's going to lead 11, 13, and I'm going to lead beginning at number 16. So we're going to hopefully keep this moving in the correct direction with item number 9, which is the discussion of institutions not in compliance with accreditation timelines. I'm passing that over to Administrator Gutierrez.
Great, thank you. So this item presents to you the institutions who are not in compliance with accreditation timelines. In the agenda item, you'll see that we have San Diego Christian College listed as working on their SB 488 literacy certification, and that the submission for program review and common standards has not been received. Both Cheryl and I met with the institution this week to discuss these items and their program status. They are working to complete their SB 488 submission, and we are expecting an update on when we will receive that. At the January COA meeting, they requested inactive status of their multiple subject and single subject programs. At this time, they have approximately 8 candidates enrolled in those programs, and all are expected to complete their program either this term or next fall. And so with the program status of inactive, they are not admitting any new candidates, and they do not intend to continue with the program once these currently enrolled candidates complete the program. So because of their program status and plans moving forward, we're not requiring the program review or common standards to be submitted at this time. And we will continue to follow up and work with the institution to complete their SB 488 certification process. Happy to answer any questions at this time.
I just appreciate that you are providing this information, these updates, because the COA had requested to be able to have these updates because we know people are going through the cycle. And so what's happening with that cycle? So thank you so much for preparing this. I'm going to pass it over to Member Campbell.
Yeah, I just was looking for clarification. They're requesting inactive for multiple subject and single subject. Will they have any active programs?
No, those are their only 2 approved programs at this time.
Any other questions? This is not an action item. This is an information item just so that we can have updates to make sure that when there are timelines that everyone's maintaining those timelines. And the institutions know it's reported out to us for information, hopefully so then timelines are met. So with that, any other questions or comments? We have Member Pernin. We can't hear you, Member Pernin. My apologies. If you could unmute. There we go.
I've been wondering, I've heard out in the field where there seems to be more and more programs that are being put on hold or paused, or do we see any trends like that? I'm just curious because I've been hearing from around the area because the enrollments decreasing.
I would say at this moment, I don't see any trends necessarily. There was, I would say a couple years back, it seemed like there were a lot of maybe independent institutions that were either merging with another institution or consolidating, sort of coming out of the pandemic because of a variety of things, fiscal mostly. At the moment, I don't see any particular trends, but we are seeing some institutions that in this particular case with San Diego Christian, they do only have 8 candidates. So I think they had to take a look at, the cost benefit analysis of offering the programs, and they decided that they were going to end up closing the institution, the program. So I don't see any particular trends, but we are watching to see. We always like to look at programs that are closing versus institutions, and we try to keep track of those also in our yearly annual report to the COA. And for a while there, some of the trends were more about how particular programs were. Sorry, authors. Our lights keep going out in the office here. There were some trends related to, for instance, the autism spectrum disorder was closing more often because it was built into the accreditation system or built into the credential programs. But right now, I don't see any particular trends.
I can't say that it's a trend, but I know, I don't know if the right word's concern or something that districts are navigating.
Yeah.
From a legislative standpoint, the educator effectiveness grant going away, and his #1 line item was teacher and administrator induction.
Good point.
If we have anyone that is in legislation or could examine that as we're looking forward, the educator effectiveness grant, I'm hearing the removal of that is impacting local education agencies with induction amongst other things. But I know, and I see heads nodding, so I know I'm not alone on, I don't know, I don't call that a trend, but it's a huge impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I have heard that as well. Yeah. Erin, you look like you want to say something. Yeah, go ahead.
I do. I'd like to know, Patrick, can you say more about when you say it's I have problems with my camera, it washes me out. When you say that the loss of that grant is affecting local induction programs, what specifically?
Line item 1 on the educator effectiveness grant was that the funding source can be used to support a teacher and administrator induction. And that's really kind of the first time since, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not detailed on this, possibly I don't have the information, but since the BITSA days of full funding of BITSA to no funding of induction, this was actually where induction came out on a line item for consideration. And since that's removed, there's actually nothing, there's not, to my understanding, I could be wrong, but my understanding is that there's nothing that's a specific line item anymore that the state is providing districts for induction for from a financial fiduciary standpoint. And there are bigger experts in this room than I am on this, if someone wanted to raise their hand and add on to that. But
I'm just curious what effect that will have on the programs, right? Will programs, so we've seen the addition of a lot of new induction programs through IIA. Do you think those programs are now going to go back to a consortium? Will they be able to continue to support their candidates? Is it going to affect their ability to recruit mentors? And maybe you don't know, maybe nobody knows those answers, but I'm very curious about.
And I would love someone to raise their hand and pipe in. I'll let Member Bryant in a second, but I want to answer that point. Is full-time release mentors? I think there's going to be an impact with them from a budget standpoint. But my opinion, Member Bryant, you're at a county level, so maybe you can answer this question better than I try to stumble through.
So, they can be written into the LCAPs, but there's only so much funding available. And so the educator effectiveness money was specifically allocated for purposes such as that. So that being pulled back means the pool of money is smaller to make decisions about many things, right? But they have to address their priority 1 in the LCAP and consider if they're meeting the needs around those educator services there, around credentialing, having teachers with credentials and that sort of thing. So there's a priority specifically in the LCAP that provides space for districts to put the funding there, but there's a lot going on in that space at the same time too. Whereas there's not any specific, I think the point is there's not anything called out specifically. Here's some funding that can be allocated to specifically help prepare your teachers and administrators in this space. So it's like the waves pulled back and there's no funding to replace it. So when districts are making hard decisions about what to do, they're looking at a smaller pool of funding and having to make some decisions about what must happen and what may happen.
And that was well said, and thank you. The add-on to that is, there's a lot of different residency grants and things happening, but there's not a specific. We would, I think, in the field, love to hear like districts have X number of money to support the induction program because we're supporting people to get a credential, but there's not a funding source to support them once they get their credential for the credential, that next step. And so what happens is it goes back to tuition-based programs, and so we are gaining and supporting in one way, but we're not there on the second tier of that. And Member Sykes, go ahead.
Just to add on to that, so then it's like when we look at tuition-based programs and we know that, teacher will be selecting their program if their district funds it, great. If their district doesn't fund it, they're going to be looking for like what's the lowest cost way they can move through induction. So that's going to be impacting programs that were developed to serve local school districts. And we know that those programs are really designed and tailored to be responsive to their local districts. So I think that that's the other kind of impact of this.
Super helpful. Thank you.
And thank you, Aaron, for asking that question. I'm glad we have this space to share. And if you want to talk to any of us here, I think we can give you ground level on individual things seen in our individual areas that we support.
All right, we are moving on to item 11. So switching back over there. Item 11 is the removal of probationary stipulations for institutions that have completed SB 488 literacy certification, and Administrator Cheryl Hickey will present this item. Ms. Hickey, will you begin, please?
Yes. So this is the proposal to go along with the process that we outlined last year. The Committee on Accreditation gave probationary stipulations to the institutions that had not yet completed SB 488. So CSU, so in this item, we talk about removal of the stipulations for two institutions, Los Angeles Pacific and CSU Dominguez Hills. It would revert their accreditation status back to what it was before that probationary stipulation because of SB 48. So for Dominguez Hills, it's full accreditation. For Los Angeles Pacific, it is accreditation with major stipulations. So they have both been completely certified now. So we are moving this forward to you to remove those stipulations and bring them back to the accreditation status as before SB 488.
Thank you. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Oh, thank you. Questions or comments from the committee members? All right, this is an action item. Do I have a motion? All right, Member Cervantes, thank you.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we accept the staff recommendation of removal of stipulations related to incomplete SB 488 literacy certification for California State University, Dominguez Hills, and for Los Angeles Pacific University. And consider the change from their accreditation status of accreditation with probationary stipulations to accreditation. And I believe for Los Angeles Pacific University is accreditation with probationary stipulations to accreditation with major stipulations.
Correct. Perfect.
Do I have a second? All right, I have a second by Committee Member Jones. We will now take roll call vote. When called upon, indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. All right.
Allison Leggett.
Aye.
Augustine Cervantes.
Aye.
Ann Jones.
Aye.
Patrick McKee.
Aye.
Ellen Hallis.
Aye.
Mike Hillis.
Aye.
Micah Bright.
Aye.
Jay Sykes.
Aye.
Connie Campbell.
Aye.
Jessica Begonovich.
Aye.
Michelle Hall. Michelle Hall.
Aye. Can you not hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, okay.
And Patricia Purnett.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. We are now going to go to item 13. Item 13 is the proposed change for Chapter 3 of the Accreditation Handbook regarding inactive programs. Administrator Cheryl Hickey, will you please present this item?
Yeah, so this item has come to us because it's kind of been bubbling for a little while. So there's as institutions, so we have a section of our handbook that talks about how to go inactive and what are the criteria around inactive, and we've included that language in this agenda item. One of the criteria that that you all approved several years ago was that there has to be 15 or fewer candidates in the program. An inactive program cannot be accepting new candidates because they are going inactive for a variety of reasons. So they could be going inactive because they have low enrollment and they're not sure whether they can fiscally support the program going forward. They have maybe lost key faculty members. There have been cases where an institution puts a program on inactive status because they really want to restructure and then come back with a kind of a newly designed structure for an institution. What it doesn't really help us with so much are those situations in which we have absolute knowledge that an institution is going to close a particular program, because sometimes there are more than 15 candidates in that situation, and we have one before us right now. So we finally said we need to do something about this. what this proposal would allow us to do is for those programs where we know they're going to close, there's definitive reasons. Either the board has acted, the superintendent's decided, the institution has made it really clear that they are going to close an institution. We would like to give you all flexibility around that 15 candidate piece, because they may have already made the decision. They are just teaching out their candidates regardless of how many they have. And we know they're going to close for sure at some particular time. So we have proposed a process for allowing us to make those programs, if anything, those programs should be inactive because they're not accepting new candidates and they know they're going to close. So we thought about how to do this. Do we change the language that's already there? I tried to come up with something and Aaron was very confused. So when Aaron's confused, I'm like, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board. And so we wrote a new section that deals with just that situation. And so hopefully it's clear enough, but I'm happy to answer any questions. So basically we would have to know that they've indicated definitively. So there needs to be a letter from leadership telling us we will be closing this program. And then it has to be within reason. So we said, how about at the conclusion of the academic or the current academic year, so that it's imminent, it's coming. It's not like 2 years from now we think we're going to close this. That they give us the date that they're going to close, and that we know that the candidates have all been told this is closing. You have so much time to finish your program, and that they will not only go inactive, but we will get a withdrawal letter at a particular point, or withdrawal request. And we said no later than 3 months after the end of the current academic year, because of that time frame to get people through the recommendation process. Because once they're withdrawn, they cannot submit any new recommendations. So that gives them a little bit of time to finish out those recommendations, and that we really understand their teach out. So that we have that information there. And that's sort of things that we do informally, but we've just made this more formal right now. And we've given the flexibility to go ahead and put them on inactive. And then as soon as they're closed, we can withdraw. But it allows us to ignore that 15 candidate limitation. So that's the proposal for you today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Thank you. I, for one, am very happy that this is more laid out and structured. I'm probably one of the institutions that you're talking about. It was very, confusing and challenging. So this would have really helped. So I'm glad that this is finally getting some clarity. So thank you for doing that.
Of course.
Co-Chair McKee.
And thank you for the clarity as well. Kind of a wondering with number 5, like, do programs when they submit, like they're inactive, this gives them 3 months afterwards to submit with their withdrawal? Is it better they submit their inactive with their withdrawal at the same time and just paste those dates out? Because my worry is someone will say, not just kidding, but they're going to come back and then it reverses it, and this whole teach out plan started. Like, what were the thoughts maybe of not just getting it all at the same time with different dates?
Well, we wouldn't bring both of them to you at the same time.
Oh,
We could get the document 2 different times. So, I mean, it's possible they do that and we hold the withdrawal one, but we won't put the withdrawal forward to you unless we know there's 0 candidates in the program.
Oh, that's right.
So that's the thing. So we reject when it comes in and it says we have 3 candidates, but we want to withdraw. We tell them we need it to say 0. So we need to know that you've taken care of all those 3 candidates. So they can submit it at the same time, but we'll hold the withdrawal, because you can only approve one or the other. They can't be both.
Thank you. Member Jones.
So maybe I'm asking the same question because that's exactly what I thought, Co-Chair McGee. I was thinking, so I just want to make it clear that if a program submits, and let's just say they don't say kidding, but a new faculty member, a new dean comes in and they say, no, 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 I'm really passionate about this and I will work night and day to make it happen, then they can reverse their decision if the withdrawal has not been processed. But if I'm reading it correctly, there's really no penalty for that except that they are accountable for any accreditation activities that had been either waived or suspended. Is that accurate?
I think you might be talking about, and let me see if I understand you right. So let's say an institution decides to go inactive, they plan to close, and then something changes. Something changes that says, oh, you know what? We've got this influx of money, or we've got whatever it is. They can come back to you with a request to reactivate. And then what we require at that point in time depends on how long they've been inactive, what's happened to the standards for the programs during that intermittent period of time. If they missed a site visit, because this is what we don't want. We don't want people to use this format in order to circumvent the accreditation system. We can say, okay, next year you have a site visit. So it's all kind of on a case-by-case basis, depending upon what has happened during that inactive period of time. If we've changed standards and now new standards are in place, because remember, technically, an inactive program can go inactive for 5 years. We're not suggesting 5 years here. We're saying that in these cases, they're going to tell us by the end of the academic year that they're closed, because that is the basis upon which this is decided. But if situations were to change, we could come forward with you with a reactivation request, and you have to approve that, and they would have to justify what happened. What's the difference?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Committee Member Hall.
Hi, real briefly again on 5. 5 is the one. Cheryl, just thinking through the process that if somebody's saying we're closing, we're putting somebody through their Cal TPA scores, they resubmit after, the academic year is over. Then that sort of delay, I just want to make sure that you put in there enough wiggle room in that 3 months. Right, so that delay could be, say the academic year ends May, that delay dribbles into what I think July would be our last cycle.
Right.
And they still have that candidate, and then they have to, if that candidate passes, then they recommend. If not, that candidate's going to have to be obviously sent to another institution, but for support. But that just sort of wiggle room on your 3-month window is my only thought.
Sure. So would you like that to be a longer period of time?
I would either say 3 to 5 months, or just put, I like footnotes, I don't know if that is legal here, but just saying it, so that we meet the institution guidelines and the obviously giving enough for the credentials to get processed. Adding that 3 months on if it's a July deadline and the program ends in May.
Okay.
That's my only suggestion.
Yeah, the retakes of TPA they become challenging, because then do those candidates re-enroll in another institution? That's always the issue when we're trying to figure out how to handle the hanging things after they've completed everything else. But
right, I just didn't want to make it that hard 3 months and then somebody's in that wiggle space.
Okay, so I hear you. So what should we say here? No later than.
Could you give a window, 3 to 5 months?
We could do that if you all think that's appropriate.
And I think here, this is talking about just programs that want to close, but they still have 15 people. That's the big hiccup here, right? Because they can have 14 and just do what they want. So, well, not do what they want, but it's a different process once they hit 15. That number is probably to prevent large programs to dissolve with people hanging out there.
Originally, it was considered well, if you have 25 to 100 people, you're really running a full program, even though you might not be accepting new candidates. So I think when that policy was set years ago, I think that was the threshold that said, okay, if you're really closing for legitimate reasons, you probably don't have that many candidates. But we know, in fact, so that what I'm thinking about right now is we do have a proposal in front of us that is an induction program that has a number of candidates in the program. They have taken action. Their board has actually acted. We are not doing this program next year. So at the end of the year, some of those candidates will have been completed because they're year twos, but some of the year ones will be going to other places. And so that's the situation. We wanted to reflect that this is really an inactive program, but because they have decided to close, they're not going to continue. So that was, I think, the threshold that it may be somewhat random, but it's also just a reasonable amount.
I'm wondering then where it says 15 continuing candidates, is that what the implied? Because it's, if they have someone completing, they're no longer at 15 candidates
Well,
in that scenario.
we've required 15 candidates before it comes to you to allow you to put it on inactive. So they're current candidates. Yeah. That's how we've been doing the process thus far. And it has been working. I will say the process has been working very well. It's just these particular cases when we know, okay, you have 40 students, but you're not going to be here next year, the institution. And they're doing everything right. They're making sure candidates are going these places, or they've partnered with another institution to offer the induction program or whatever program it is. So it's just a matter of trying to reflect to the public that this is really an inactive program.
All right, thank you so much for that discussion. This is an action item. Do I have a motion on the floor? Yes, Member Cervantes.
Yeah, motion to accept staff's recommendation, adoption of the proposed language for inclusion in the accreditation handbook, including the clauses and provisos that were proposed through this discussion.
Thank you. Do I have a second committee member? Thank you, Member Campbell. All right. We will now do roll call vote. When called upon, indicate your vote with aye, no, or abstain. Staff, please call the names.
Allison Leggett,
Aye.
Kristen Cervantes,
Aye.
Ann Jones,
Aye.
Patrick McKee,
Aye.
Ellen Hallis,
Aye.
Mike Ellis,
Aye.
Micah Bryant,
Aye.
Kay Sykes,
Hi.
Connie Campbell,
Aye.
Jessica Bogdanovich,
Aye.
Michelle Hall,
Aye.
Patricia Pernin.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hickey. And we will now turn it over.
And I just want to say that when we bring these to you, we'll let you know it's one of these situations so that you're aware that that's the situation here.
Thank you. I'll now turn it back over to Co-Chair McKee to finish us out.
Thank you so much. And we're going to move now to public comment. We will now open for public comment. As a reminder, the COA may not discuss any topics presented during this item as they have not been publicly noticed. Does any member of the public have anything it wishes to say? If so, please raise your hand in the Zoom feature, or we will wait a moment to see if we have anyone indicating they wish to speak in the chat function. As a reminder, public comments are limited to only 2 minutes, so we'll wait to see if there is any public comment.
There are no public comments.
Thank you. And before I go to the next step, we did cover every agenda item, right? There wasn't anything we skipped along the way.
We're good.
Because my next step is to adjourn, so I want to make sure. All right, so having no further business, I adjourn the March 2026 meeting of the Committee on Accreditation. The next meeting of the committee will be a one-day in-person meeting on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Wishing everyone a great rest of the week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.